Oh, they've got...
There we go.
It's a mechanical issue.
Right. Okay. Now, can I hear? Yes, now I can. I see.
Alrighty. That's taken care of. Everybody good? Well, let's go ahead and start. So last time, just as a quick recap, we picked up with us still within Sarnau, getting ready to leave on the road to Astrazalian. We did our last-minute preparations that morning, and then you all piled into the wagon being towed behind the large Valinar steed, along with your new companions, Archie, Bastille, and Harrow. You were followed by the 3 Winter Guard, who were assigned to protect and defend and follow Bastille everywhere he went, and set off into the great expanse of the Feywild. A few hours into your journey, you came across a very familiar scenario in which the axle in your wagon was cracked. A small setback that set the Winter Guard immediately on edge as they scouted out the immediate area. Ken, Nicholas, and Aerith jumping out to perform repairs and help get the wagon back on the road and going, finding that the area was secured. Bastille, or actually Archie, invited Bastille, Oni, and Mia out into the woods where Archie and Bastille swapped faces and restored the memories of Mia and Oni from the night before that had been obscured by Nicholas's modify memory magic to not have everything given away before you left Sarnau. Restoring your memories and returning you guys to the wagon, you guys continued along the road until some very large and hungry and teleporting Tyrannosaurus Rexes set upon you at the edge of the Golden Vale. You attempted to escape them with the use of a haste spell, but as the lethargy kicked in on the horse, the wagon, and physics, sending it toppling pretty much ass over tea kettle, Mia flying out of it and able to catch the wagon before it hit the ground, while the Tyrannosauruses were beginning to munch away at the Winter Guard, who they had caught up with. With the wagon now indisposed temporarily, the rest of you leapt to the defense of your small party and managed to save the first Winter Guardsman before another one ran in and got himself 8. This wasn't necessarily a bad thing, as during the conversation with Bastille and Archie, Bastille had stated that he wanted some way of shaking the Winter Guard. He wanted to be able to continue with just Harrow and you all, as those were the ones he trusted. So you all had kind of tried to figure some methods, some paths of separating them out and sending them back, and this seemed like a good opportunity for him, as he made his play for the 2 surviving Eladrin to gather up their fallen comrade and return to Sarnau with Archie, who was Bastille and who is actually named Rook, so that Bastille, the true Bastille, Harrow, and the Wanderers of Starlight, whose names he only really knows one of you, can continue to Astrazalian as he had intended. As you separated from the Winter Guard, sending them back to Sarnau, Bastille restored the memories of the rest of the party, and you all continued on your journey. He informed you of what he could, of what he knew of Titania's palace, the large, intricate, and elegant facility, and what he knew about the vaults deep within. What he's been able to learn of his spies, of which he informed you he had 4 within the city, and what he still hopes to learn when you meet up with them upon your arrival in Astrazalian. What's the gift for?
Oh, just the Archie who's Bastille, who's Rook, who's...
The many layers of Fae here. Yeah. As the journey continued on, the horse began to get tired. You had been on the road for probably about 14, 15 hours, and it was time for you guys to finally make camp. A small camp was set up in which more discussions could be had, some dancing lessons in which Bastille and Aerith could kind of teach and show Mia and Ken the basics of a three-step waltz, as well as some of the other dances and things that they may be required to participate in at the gala, as he intends for at least the two of them, Aerith as well, if he wishes to stay on the dance floor and help draw attention, to be the distraction, while the more magically and
Yeah, Oni admits what could go
stealthily
wrong.
stealthily inclined make their way through the back rooms to find this secret way down into the vaults deep beneath the palace. You all rested that evening, standing a watch, but finding it to be warm and comfortable and nothing
No!
nothing coming at you. There's small little bits of that all night long as Mia tosses and turns the many things she's learned.
Aerith, no. No, I swear I'm trying.
Still echoing in her mind. And then you awoke the next day, packed up camp, did your normal morning trainings, and we got back on the road. Several hours passed before you could see the city in the distance as you approached this massive, like, bramble and thorn wall built of growing wood and trees with parapets set intermittently between it, and beyond it this massive forest similar to what you had seen in Lintier, this kind of construction built within the trees themselves, platforms stretching from bough to bough and treetop to treetop, but the colors here so vibrant and distinct, unique to the Feywild, the purples and blues of the leaves, the vibrant reds and deep pinks, and these various bright and colorful palettes across the entirety of the forest before you. And as you approached, the guards hailed out to Harrow, who stood on the front of the wagon and responded to the hail, expecting you guys. The doors opened, and as you rolled through the doors, that was where we left off. So, as you roll in, Harrow at the front will sit back down on the seats and kind of make himself comfortable, and Bastille will turn to the rest of you. Well, it will take us about 45 minutes or an hour to reach your inn, where you will be staying. That's where I'll be dropping you off. I'll be checking in at the palace and making myself comfortable, and then I will meet up with you all later this evening, once I've had a chance to meet up with some of my contacts.
Who are they?
Well, he just sits back. I'm expecting to meet up with Melody first. I think she would be the most informed. But I'm honestly going to take whoever I can get, as their jobs are dangerous, and I wouldn't want to risk their security for no reason. So,
Right. So, what are they going to tell you exactly? Like, they tell you what is going on in the palace, or like how to find what we need, or what?
both
What?
of those things.
All of it?
Hopefully, I'm hoping that they can tell us some more insight as to the goings-on in the palace itself, as well as how to get to our destination. I'm less interested in the former and more in the latter.
Right. What kind of party is this, I guess, besides the dancing?
Are you all familiar with nobility in your world?
No.
Unfortunately.
Whoa, why are you so quiet, bro? Who was it?
I think that was
that
Ken.
AJ?
Yeah.
That was me. I got like Discord and stuff set up on my PC, and I'm using my the headset.
Well, you gonna have to turn that up, or I'm gonna turn you up one. You were dead quiet.
All right. I'll walk you. Hit the gear for user settings at the bottom, Ken.
Weird.
It's super easy. So hit the user settings, go to voice and video on the left-hand side.
I'm out in Discord.
Yeah.
Okay. Gear, user settings. Okay.
Voice and video.
Voice and video.
And then you see input volume. It should be about halfway full.
Oh, input volume is all the way up.
Okay. That one's already been boosted. Okay. Do you have Windows 10 or 11?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Hit the Windows key and type sounds. And do you see like change system sounds or sound settings?
System sounds.
Yeah, we need to get into like the sound thing where you can find your microphone. I guess.
Actually, hold up.
Mm-hmm. I was so used to it because I've already got them all boosted, so I could still kind of hear them, but...
Yeah, it's better to turn you like all the way up, but it's still a little quiet.
Yeah, we need to give him a little bit of a boost.
Okay, how does that sound now? Now?
Everybody? That's better.
Yeah, sounds good.
What
Sound
about
good?
now?
Right? None of those sounded any different, but
Yeah, it all sounded exactly the same to me. It is better than when you first started, and it sounded like you were talking from Jerry's perspective from Tom and Jerry, though. I can actually hear you now.
Should be like a decibel boost is what you're looking for within your microphone, Ken. And you'll just want to boost that a little bit because that'll give you like extra volume over what your mic's detecting. Wish I could like... Oh, actually, can you share your screen?
Oh, I can do that now, huh?
Alright, let's everybody look
Okay.
at Ken's screen. Wow.
So go ahead. You see the speakers in the bottom right? Go ahead and click on that, and it'll pop something up, and there'll be like, yeah, right click on it, and then sounds, and then go to recording at the top. Okay, right click on microphone, go to properties, and then listen, or sorry, levels at the top, and then get microphone up to 100, and then put the boost at plus 15 dB. So right where that bar is probably.
Oh.
It can only do a 10. So, okay, that's fine. So 20 should be fine. Just a little bit more than it is right now. And then hit OK. Okay. Say something.
Hello.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
better.
better.
Much better. Okay. It's also much clearer than you were on your phone. So that is
Right.
good.
I didn't want to get flamed for having a shitty mic if I, played Valorant, so.
Oh, that's definitely much better. I have to actually turn him down a little bit.
Yeah, right. Perfect.
All right. So, as He asks about your familiarity with the nobility in your world. Bastille will weigh the words. It's going to be much of the same, except more passive enjoyment and less. There will be no blood sports or uh, animals or anything along those lines. It's mostly going to be a bunch of dancing and talking. Some games will be played, favors traded, information exchanged. These things are hosted as a way to establish the political connections of the Archfey, the movers and shakers, and people who have influence within our society.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds a lot like our nobility. So it
Alright.
should be.
Right. I
Yeah.
was gonna ask about the blood sports. Is that a usual thing? Is that usual? And she turns to Aerith. Just, do you kill people for fun? And then you. So when you catch the person and then you keep them?
No.
Oh, you don't kill people. Okay.
As you say that, our Bastille just sort of raises an eyebrow. How far does your world knowledge go?
Me?
No, not
To
I know how
last
far
month.
yours goes, my dear. You say that your people don't hunt people, and that is true, but these blood sports do exist in your world, and people do kill each other for the entertainment of others.
I can name a group of people off the top of my head that'll gladly partake in that.
But this should not come as we shouldn't be casting judgments on how different peoples go about life. This is just a way of me providing an analogy to something that might be more understandable for you. Either way, you will be expected to simply enjoy yourselves. Dance, eat, play games, speak to the elite here and allow them to shake your hands and walk away saying that they have met people from beyond the veil of our world, as well as such notable pedigrees as yourselves.
Oh, well, sounds simple enough, but in our line of work, simple is always never. Yeah.
Yes. I expect the other objective that we have to be far more intricate and taxing than the party.
Right. So do we want to meet those people, or are you meeting them and we just need to go do something else?
I don't quite know where they are right now. I know that Melody is going to be set up within the palace, but beyond that, I don't know where Glenn, Finch, or oh no, Cliff
That one
may
guy, I
be.
always forget his name.
Before, right. Oh my God, I'm not sure where they may be within the city, so I'm going to reach out to Melody and hopefully follow up from there. I'll be dropping you off first. So, the hotel you'll be staying at is known as the Midsummer Night. It is one of the most prestigious here within the city, where those that stay, or those that travel alongside the most highborn can stay. It's one step down from the palace, and probably the best that you could hope for within the city itself. And I will drop you off right there. And as he's kind of like, you've been like rattling through the roads here, and these roads are very, very well paved with cobblestones. To the point where, with the shocks that this wagon has to handle the off-road travel, you really don't feel much. Just the clopping of the Valinar steed as you kind of look out of the windows while having this conversation. You can see in the distance as these large buildings are kind of parallaxing through the trees. He pulls back the curtain and points out as you're coming through this like open area here, and you can see the palace there in the center of it all. And then he points like just past it, where this massive cluster is. He's like, "That is where we're going to be eventually dropping you off, but we're going to have to go all the way around the city first, along the northern route, across a couple bridges, down past the main street, and finally to your lodging. I'll drop you off, go and meet with Melody, and then I will come see you as quickly as I can. You are free to head up to the city if you wish, ask around. Your curiosity should be expected. At this point, nothing should be amiss. It is just Bastille, Lord of Winter, and his retinue traveling to the gala. And if you wish to see the sights and the sounds and ask questions and gain knowledge and those things, I would ask that you merely just leave word with the bellhops within the hotel so that I can find you when I need you. Or, he kind of looks over at Nicholas. That little trick you did the other night, how far can that stretch? How far apart can we be?
That is a great question. Let me look it up in my book really quick. I forgot what it's called.
Rary's
Psychic.
telepathic bond.
Yeah.
I think it's a mile.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
It is.
If it would load, so it
Right.
casts. I have to be within 30 feet to
I think
cast
any
it.
distance. Communication
Right.
possible over any distance, so it can extend to
Yes.
other planes of existence
So everywhere.
Well,
for 1 hour.
Yes.
for an hour.
I don't have magic. Don't ask.
It could be.
And I'd have to cast it at a 7th level. No, because I'm out of 5th and 6th spell slots right now.
Yeah. Well, it's a ritual spell though, because you can cast it ritually.
I can. I don't know if people in the town are just gonna look at us funny as I just do mumbo jumbo in the middle of the town.
You roll through this city and see magical lights everywhere, magical sounds just being created. This is a very arcanely active city compared to Sarnau. Sarnau is like a country rustic town, and you've now walked into a metropolis, complete with the lights and sounds, but instead of electronic, they're arcane, and where you would expect buildings of, like construction, instead you see trees and large structures that weren't built but grown. So you could assume that magic wouldn't be looked at
Seems
sideways here.
pretty magically, so I don't think they would care.
Alright.
Well, it would give us an hour, and perhaps you could at least let me know where you'd be going. I was hoping it would last longer. Well,
Well, after the hour is done, and then you could just like come find us and we can redo it again, right?
Then I'd have to use an A spell slot.
let's do this. And as you guys are getting to this part, you like feel it click onto a bridge and look out the windows and can see rushing crystal clear water flowing beneath you as the wagon rolls across the first of the many or couple bridges you're going to have to go across. I will drop you off at your tavern, your inn, your hotel, whatever I want to call it. And then you go about your day. We'll meet up this evening. That'll give me plenty of time to make contact with those I need to. And then perhaps, is there a limit to the amount of people we can?
I believe 8.
8. Perhaps we could bring them in to this bond. It at least prevents outward spies, but those that get in our minds are still going to be a concern. But I don't believe she would risk that. It could be seen as... Yes, I think we're safe. Okay. All right. Well, do you have any questions about the city as we rattle on through? I've been here many times.
I guess is there any place for us to like relax, like a coffee shop, or I'll glance over to Arif, a library.
Where I'll be dropping you off is a wonderful place for relaxation. There are gaming tables, restaurants, food to be had, and of course, very comfortable rooms for you to retire to when you wish to just do nothing. As far as the library, we actually passed the Zinnian archive as we entered the city. It was the first of the islands that you can see off the main road. There is also the Bloom, which is the magical academy here within Astrazalian, as well as, and he kind of pulls this. He's just like pointing out the windows to like the right behind you, and he pulls back to the left and points up to the north, as well as Faklukin Academy, which is a bardic school. So if you wish to see how the entertainers that provide the wondrous sights and sounds of the city learn their skill, you could walk their grounds and speak to them. There are many residential districts, shops. My favorite is a small place named Flinders. Always has an interesting selection of curios and trinkets. And then I believe the Copper Pond is where we'll meet for dinner this evening. It's, well, I don't want to spoil it.
Is it also a show place?
Not so much. It's more of a... Does your world have nightclubs again yet?
No. I don't think our home realm does, but we did go to another place called Acheron that had a nightclub. That was an interesting night.
Similar to that, although, as with everything here, themed around bloom and summer, it is a place of more active revelry, dancing and louder music, bar, and they have a very, very interesting drink that they call nectar, that even for us here, it can have a potent effect.
All right, steering clear of that place.
Oh, no.
Well, he said we're going there for dinner, though.
Oh. Okay, well, as long as y'all are with me, fine.
Is the Magic Academies open to the public to go in, or do we have to get permission to access it?
No, there would be no reason to restrict knowledge. Although you may find yourselves to be more the curiosity there than the information within the tomes, but there shouldn't be any problems if you wanted to explore the grounds.
Yeah.
Ah,
Trying to go over there, Nick? I'm interested too.
I want to see if they have any unique Fey magic available.
I guess
Sounds
I'll
like
just.
we. It sounds like we need to go there because everybody wants to go there.
Very good. All right. Well, let's see. The Magic Academy is going to be so you guys cross over this bridge. As you cross over, the buildings around you, they've been getting larger and larger, more and more intricate. The the growth patterns of the trees becoming more like woven together as opposed to just structurally sound. There's this bit of like elegance that's starting to form as you cross this second smaller bridge into the like residential districts here on this side of Astrazalian. And as you click down the road, the clapping of the horse's hooves, you get to about this point here. The roads are hard to see on the map, but
Mhm.
as the wagon starts turning to the left, Bastille will once again pull the curtain back on the left-hand side of the wagon and point down here. The bloom is that large cluster of trees just over there. The golden building between us here is the Copper Pond. It's easily recognizable. You should be able to find it when you are out and about. The bloom itself is a campus of multiple different academic buildings. They have a small library of their own for research purposes, as well as all sorts of, I guess, investigations into different types of natural magics. I've seen the way that you all cast, and I warn you, you might find some of the methodology there a little different than you are used to. But I encourage you to seek it out anyway and learn what you can. Here, as you clack past this larger building here, well, this is actually like a kind of like a big cluster of pink trees and almost look like coral growing out with the white branches. And at the base of it, a number of shops and buildings and like restaurants and taverns. There are what look like gaming halls where it's like you look in and you can just see as there are a number of Eladrins sitting around like tables, cheering and shouting at each other. There are dice being thrown and coins being flipped, different games being played. The other thing that I would say you notice about the city is there's not a lot of variety in the people. It's mostly summer elves, the kind of greens and orange and red hairs of the summer Eladrin, but you don't see a lot of other seasons of the Eladrin. Very few. Only a couple of other gnomes or other Fey races, and not really any that were like the smaller races, like the dryads, the nymphs, the things like that back in Sarnau. It's a much more homogenized people here.
This place is too big.
Well, we're almost there, my dear. And as you clatter past, and he points out, and right there is Flinders again, my preferred shop here for trinkets and interesting baubles. And then right here, as the wagon comes to a stop and Harrow hops down to hitch the horse, we have the Midsummer Night. So let's go and get you guys sorted. And lead you into tavern. So dropping you guys off He's going to head in. He'll speak with one of the Summer Eladrin at the front. Seems as though they were expecting you. They just sort of nod to him and look over at you, and they kind of ask him a couple questions. Turns back to you. How many rooms do you want? 2 or 3?
Let's see. 1, 2. Do you guys want to share?
Let's do 3.
Do you want your own rooms?
All we could do. He turns around and asks him. If you want, we could probably pull that off.
No one answered me. Do you want to share or not?
I mean, I don't think it's that big a deal if we share or not.
Then
Go with what you feel.
Yeah, go for it.
fine. Then one for me and Ken, and one for Aerith and Nick, and one for Oni.
Very good. All right. Let's see. So we'll set up you two in main suite here. So Ken and Mia, your room will be over here, and then the other 3 will be in these 2 conjoining rooms on the other corner. So as Bastille shakes the man's hand, kind of gives him like a like close the eye and nod, and one hand over the other, shakes and thanks him. The summer elf will kind of walk over to you. Do you have any equipment or luggage that you need brought to your rooms, or would like any assistance with getting out of your wagon?
Yeah, I think our attire, but I can handle mine.
Oh, right. All the big boxes. Big boxes of fancy clothes.
Very good. Well, let me go and get that sorted for you. You head back out. Hera's kind of like taking the boxes off of the back of the wagon and setting them down. Looks over at Bastille, gives him a nod. Bastille looks at you. Well, I'm going to go get myself sorted and checked in at the palace.
Where's Hera staying? Is he staying with us or with you?
He'll be staying with me. He has a room in the palace with me.
Fancy.
Yes, he'll be... And I have the token right now as his face, just because I like this token more. But right now he is in like his full armor get-up with the shadowed face like he normally has with the helmet on. He'll be my guardsman, and I don't go anywhere without him. So he'll stay with me. You all make yourselves comfortable. See to the city. I will reach out to you shortly when I have made contact with Melody, and then perhaps we could meet up somewhere before dinner and go over what we've learned.
Do you want to do the telepathic thingy now or later?
It may be better to take it or to do it later. I don't know if she's going to be reachable within the next hour.
Okay.
Cool. So, you guys are seen to your rooms. Your luggage is transported in. Bastille and Harrow head out into the city to go and make themselves known and comfortable within the palace itself. And as you step into this large tavern, it strikes you like any other tavern within the material plane. Like you've got bustling noise, the smell of cooking food, drinks being served, raucous laughter, shouts, and cheers. The people in the middle seem to be all playing some sort of game, while all of the Eladrin that are set up on the different tables are all just eating, talking, kind of going about daily business. But again, you don't see many other like species of Eladrin or other races until you get further in. And then you start seeing some of the autumn ones that you had met back in Sarnau. But again, it is a stark contrast to Sarnau. So, with the intro done and you all left to your own devices, what's on the docket? What you want to do?
Also, do we want to get the magic item that lets us put holes in walls or windows or doors? Which I can't remember the name of at this moment. I just
Robe
know it
of
makes holes.
useful things. Or
Yeah.
items. One
We can
of those.
definitely look for one of those. You said there was a magic shop.
Yeah, I say we make sure we at least have one of those.
I will say that it's having used the item before, it's random what items you get. So
Just keep pulling until you get it.
well, it has a limited amount of patches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's convenient though. We can just look at the patches before we buy it and see what it has, right? So we don't even have to waste money if it doesn't have the one we need.
That's true.
I
Or
guess
we could
in
just buy like
theory.
20 of them and just keep going until like, give us the item. Give us the item.
Yeah, easy. You just have to roll between a 91 and a 96 on a D100.
I got this.
Yeah,
Optimism.
perfect.
I mean, we could still check. Maybe there is one that's
Yeah.
just lucky and has the items we need.
Either way. But I guess, is there anything we want to do in the tavern first? Kind of wanted to see what games they were playing.
I mean, I'm down for whatever.
I guess first Mia will just kind of like wander over to this table and stare at what they're doing.
So as you kind of head up onto this raised kind of dais in the middle of the room and check out their game, it's similar to the poker game that you guys had learned earlier, but it seems like when they deal out the middle, like the river, instead of it doing 3 and then 1-1, they just do everything at once, and then it's more of a bluffing game of trading the cards in, and the 2 cards in your hand, instead of drawing additional ones, they're trading them or keeping them. So it's a different iteration on the same kind of game that you had learned. But they seem to be actually, make me a perception check. I just realized I hadn't actually called for any rolls yet tonight.
Hey.
They seem to be using some sort of token, or it looks like a coin, but it's carved out of wood. It's like oval shaped. There's a square or diamond shaped hole at one end of it, and then the other end has like this innately or ornately carved T on it. And
Interesting.
there's a pile of them in the middle, probably about 30 or so.
Yes, she'll peek over and. What are the coins for? I thought you guys didn't use money.
Excuse me, are you speaking to me?
Yes. I just wanted. What were the coin things in the middle of the table for?
They're tokens.
What do they do?
She like narrows her eyes at you and kind of like gauges you up and down. Roll me a charisma check. You're new. They represent work, things that we're going to do, objects. It's a simpler way of trading and knowing that everyone's getting an equivalent, deal on things. I traded some of the arrows that I had created for a handful of these, and now I am attempting to bet those against this man here, and she looks across at him, who's kind of like just like got his like sneer on his face as she's obviously distracted from the game with you, in the hopes that I will have more than I did when I came in here.
That's pretty cool. When I was watching them, did I notice either of them cheating?
Roll me an insight check. And what are the rest of you guys doing well?
Stop rolling good on stupid things.
You didn't notice any cheating. You get the you get the feeling you interrupted something, and the guy on the other side of the table is definitely in a more advantageous position at the table. She's she's not doing so well, and it's coming across as kind of just frustration. But no one's cheating
Yet.
yet. If you're going to be spending time here within Astrazalian, you might want to see about getting some tokens of your own. It just makes things so much faster than having to argue.
Yeah, that is a good idea, especially since can you use them at like shops and stuff?
Of course. Where else would they be?
I didn't know if it was just a game thing or like a universal paying for thing. Okay, how do I get them then?
Any of the traders, she kind of like points over at the main bar over here. The two people you see is one of the summer elves is like writing down something on a piece of paper, and the woman behind the counter is like counting out a handful of those tokens. Any of the money traders within any of the inns can assist you. I guess they wouldn't call them money traders. The token traders within any of the inns can assist you on trading away any of the items that may be of value, or taking any writs of payment or offers for services. Now, if you don't mind, I really need to focus.
Okay, it looks like he's winning, so good luck.
Yes, I see that. Okay, I guess I'm going to take one, and she takes another card as you're walking away, and you hear, oh.
I don't think I have it. Like, I want to help her, but I don't know how to.
I also, guys, I'm sorry. I had the idea for the tokens that they've been in my mind for a while, and I've been thinking about it literally for weeks. I cannot think of a name for them aside from titty tokens, and that just doesn't work. Because they're Titania's tokens, and so we're just gonna call them tokens, okay? Because I can't, and every time I try to think of it, I go titty tokens.
Well, now we have to call them that.
Hey, if you want to, that's fine, but they can't officially be called that. Like, I just can't.
We can use them as an insult towards Titania.
There you go.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking
Nia
at
comes
myself.
back over. We got to get titty tokens, guys.
Okay, because so with telekinetic, I can make my mage hand invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to try to either, I don't know, like draw her a better card, or maybe like move a couple of the tokens to her side without them noticing.
All right, which one?
I don't know how like best to do.
I'll tell you, knowing which card in the deck is going to be really hard.
Right, that's the problem. Yeah, I'll move a couple of the tokens over to her side.
Roll me a charisma check, and as you guys see Mia kind of turn around or start walking back towards you all after having this conversation with her, and you hear the like small curse she turns, and there's a tiny little sparkle at the corner of her eye as she looks at the table, and a shift, this like clattering of objects. And are you guys doing anything in this moment?
Looking as innocuous as possible. I don't want to be wrapped up in whatever shenanigans is about to
Yeah, I'm doing the same probably.
As Mia's eye twinkles ever so slightly, and you cast out your mage hand and kind of just scoop over a handful of the tokens over, just off the side of one of the piles as he's grabbing out. He's got like his eyes locked on hers, and he's laughing, taking the pot as a few of them clatter towards her. And he looks down at it, and he raises an eyebrow, and she looks down at it, and she raises an eyebrow. And he looks at her, and his face goes stern. She goes, "That wasn't me. I didn't do
I'm
anything.
walking away.
That wasn't me." And he reaches out and he takes the few tokens that fell off his pile while holding eye contact with her, moves it over to his side, piles them up, throws one into the middle, and deal. She goes, "Oh, all right." Meanwhile, Mia, you walk away.
I'm
Your
gonna go over
friends,
here.
Oni definitely picks up on all of it. The sequence of events, your passive perception high enough. The rest of you, if you want to know, if you saw it, you can roll me a perception check. If you're curious, it's up to you.
Less curiosity and more Ken trying to make sure Mia doesn't get any trouble. Oh, well.
She smiled at you and turned her head, and there was a twinkle in her eye, and her hair shifted and caught like some candle light from the lantern, and you were just entranced, my friend.
You know what? I'll accept that.
There's a small kerfuffle behind her as she scurries over towards the Eladrin behind the counter. I feel like I'm focusing on Mia, so is anybody doing anything?
I guess I should probably go over there and assist. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
if you
gonna
guys
go
are
over
just
there.
watching her as she shenanigans with the NPCs, I'm cool with that. I just don't want to neglect anyone, you know?
Yeah,
let me,
that's fine.
Yeah, let me come over here.
So as she smiles and turns and walks over, the elf behind the counter stands up to his full height, which is about as tall as you are, Ken, and looks at both of you. "Good evening, or good day. You're new here. How may I assist you?"
They said over there that you do token stuff that we need to get things at the shop, or at least it's easier to get stuff at the shops.
"It is quicker, yes. Lady Titania, in her infinite wisdom, has established a new method, a way of going about business that takes away the uncertainty of equivalent exchange and trade. Instead, your efforts, your work, your products, your items, whatever it is that you have to offer, can be traded for tokens, which are then used to purchase goods from others, or bet upon the many games that we have here within Astrazalian and potentially make more than you earned through your own efforts."
Right. So, what if we don't really have any of that stuff, but we have money? Can we trade those for tokens?
"What is money?"
It's these shiny things. And she'll put down a platinum piece on the table.
He takes it. I mean, the metal itself is quite unique and rare. But a piece this size, we could trade these maybe 1 token per piece of shiny metal.
Okay. How much does one get us at the shop?
A single token. Actually, hold on. I need to think about this differently. I need to think about it differently because I need to think about this in terms of currency. So, we'll call this one a 100 token piece. An average evening's festivities of drink and food and merriment could cost an individual 20 to 30 tokens. With this one shiny piece of metal, getting you one of these, and he'll hold it out, and it's got that same ornate T designed at the bottom of, but there's another symbol above it, that none of you know because none of you know Sylvan, but it's the Sylvan number for 100.
Who needs to read? Okay. Ken, how many of these should we get?
Enough within reason. Just don't spend all of your currency. Don't spend all your currency exchanging. Just get what you think would be enough for now, and then I guess we'll go from there.
Okay.
I'll help you if need be.
I guess we could try to take this one to the shop.
Okay, that's fine. I was
I
actually
just
curious.
don't know what else to trade because, like, I have some like items and stuff, but I like all those things, and I don't know how we trade like favors here because I don't know what we could do for them.
Right.
You look over, and as you say that, the gentleman to your left is like, all right, so that's 3 nights service promised for a payment of 1,000 tokens. Here you go. And he hands over a piece of paper, and the woman behind the counter looks at it and nods down, and she stamps on it, and there's this like flash of magic. You see as this like green and red braid establishes itself around his wrist. Very good. Well, your 3 days will begin when we need you. Until then, enjoy your time here within Astrazalian. And she hands him over. It's about 10 of those 100 tokens in a
I mean,
handful.
we could trade them promise to do stuff, and then if we leave, I don't know if that still applies.
I don't think that's how that works. I mean, if we trade favors, we're gonna
Right.
have to they're gonna cash in on them, and we're gonna be honor bound to complete those favors. So
But
we
will
can't
that
just
still
up and leave.
Well, I mean, we can because we are going to, but would those promised things still apply 20 years in the future?
I'm pretty sure one way or the other, it's gonna be an issue. Not an issue, but the deal must be completed. I guess this would be the right words to say. So let's just figure out a way. Let's just go get tokens, and then we'll just worry about that later.
It is also worth mentioning that the merchants here within Astrazalian will take your goods and promises of service at the shops as well. But know that their rates are not as good as ours.
You've got like the airport exchange rate.
Kind of like taps his nose on the side.
Okay. I'll tell you what. By trade, besides being an adventurer, I am a craftsman of sorts. I specialize in items that combines magic and basic technology and combine them into what I call Magitech. How much do you think I'd be able to get if I were to create some Magitech items for the inn?
What would these objects do?
Oh, well, really depends on what the client wants. Um, I ask. Um, I try not to do weapons because depending on the weapon, it takes like a lot of time, and unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time here in the city.
We have
So
no
I
use
could.
for weapons. So
Ooh. Uh, Off table. Can I create homunculus servants for the inn, like for RPC?
let me see. Because you have magical components, right, that you've purchased.
Yeah.
I'd say yeah. It would take probably about 4 or 5 hours to craft it out and have it viable. But yeah.
Okay. So for example, um, I'll do a quick whistle and I'll get like one of the kids to pop up and just hop in my arms, and I could create little guys like this to maybe help around the inn, for like very minute tasks that you're maybe find yourselves too busy to do every so often. I could
Kinda-
make them just a little bit bigger, help like sweeping the floors or, you know, the ceilings, menial tasks like that.
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage. He looks out at the strange mechanical dragon, something absolutely and utterly unique to the world that he lives in.
Flash of genius?
Flash genius.
And I'll add a little bit.
All right, and a D4.
Alright.
Let's give you an 11 as your base number instead of a 7.
Well, 17, 19. All right,
That's not bad.
that's definitely better. He looks down at the creature. It is of an interesting design, and I've never seen so much metal all used in one.
Yeah, this one is of my particular taste. Obviously, you can choose whatever form that you deem necessary. I can make it more humanoid to, I guess, assist with the tasks that I've detailed prior. And hey, it might bring some more traffic into the inn, which, is a win-win, right?
Interesting. Yes, no, that is a good insight. He turns to his right. Bavara, could you go get Lady Shasina and let her know that we need her insights in this moment? Something that only she could make the decision on. Wait just one moment. And the woman to his right kind of nods and she scurries off. A few minutes later, she comes back with another one in tow. Looking at the mechanical dragon on the countertop as the gentleman you've been speaking with is kind of just going over him and talking to you, asking about like the different shapes and functionalities. Can it fly? Can it climb? Can it be taught? Things like that. And as she comes back, she looks over both of you, and her eyes linger for just a little bit longer than you were expecting. Then she looks down at the dragon, and she looks over at you. Well, I heard that there was something interesting going on, but I wasn't expecting outwelders.
Hello.
Hello. Alathus, what is the situation? And The gentleman turns to her and goes, "Well, you see, they are looking to trade in some products for tokens, and this is an example of something that this young man here is capable of building. He has offered to provide us with one of these servants, and I find myself... I feel like a purchase of this size needs to go through you." And she nods, just very, like, graciously. "Well, let's see what it can do." And she kind of goes through you go back through the whole rigmarole of all of its capabilities.
Yeah, it's very modular. I can just while in the process, I can adjust the mana circuits to have it act under set commands. For example, I could set I call it the homunculus servant. I could set it to where it obviously first things first obeys you and the other employees here, all of your commands. Have it clean, help with minor repairs, just things like that.
That would be very useful.
And I'm sure something of this unique visage would bring more customers.
Yes. Very
Give it a
well.
little butler outfit.
And be worth quite a few tokens.
If you could make me one that appears to be a flying lotus blossom, a flower that could careen through the air and provide sight and sound and assistance to the employees here, as you said, a way of maybe a little bit of prestidigitation within it to help clean things up. That could...
Yeah, kid will pull out a notebook, like write exactly what she's requesting. It's like, okay, lotus flower model, assistance.
Let us say...
Assist modules added. Prestidigitation for sights and sounds. Okay, anything else?
If you could pull that off, I would be willing to pay you 25,000 tokens.
Seems like a good amount, right?
I guess I'll look to them for confirmation. I mean, as you've already surmised, we're not from around here, so from what I can tell, tokens are a lot, I guess, and that sounds like a lot. So I believe that should be fair, considering we're new here. So yes, I believe I can agree to those terms. I won't be able to get started until later tonight, though, if that's all right. I promised this lovely lady beside me that we would go explore the city, check some things out.
Very good. I can understand needing to put your priorities where they are. And if you are to be going out into the city, well, you will need to have something. So let's go ahead and write up a little bit of a contract. You can agree to these terms as we've outlined them here. I will go ahead and provide you with the tokens now that you can utilize within Astrazalian. And then, before you leave the city, you can provide me with this wondrous creation.
Absolutely. It shall be done.
Very well. Bavara, if you wouldn't mind writing up the documentation. Olathis, well done. Enjoy your time in the city. And she gives you both a smile and will head back into the rest of the tavern.
Oh.
That seems great. Good.
Yeah.
We got tokens.
Okay, so we are going to go ahead, and she takes out like this quill, and as she just traces the quill across the paper, like the words transcribe almost immediately, and they're very fine print, and it's very intricate. And she's like kind of writing
Can't
out
read
this
any of this.
contract of, all right, so you'll be providing with, probably going to take about 10 minutes as she goes over the contract, dictating what you had just agreed to with Shivara. Oni,
Right? And I can't read any of it.
it's in both. It actually, as it writes out of her quill, one line, the top line comes out in common, and the second line comes out in Sylvan.
Well, that's handy.
Right? But, Oni, Nick, and Aerith, what you guys doing?
I think we're waiting on them, and then we'll go to the shop and then the academy.
Yeah, I don't really have anything
Don't want to make
personally,
any deals.
so
Don't want to sell anything.
literally have nothing to sell. And
That's fair.
if they mention they don't have need of weapons and talk of Bloodsport earlier, probably Oni isn't going to be able to contribute much. Plus, they're not big on guides, so he can't, like, the knowledge he has on that, he can't offer. So,
I hadn't considered all that. That's fair.
You could try.
While Ken and Mia make their agreement, you guys observe from a distance, taking it all in, and you don't sense anything untoward, like anyone's getting screwed, but you definitely had, like, as the woman Shivara walked down off of this higher raised kind of center area, you definitely got the sense of someone who was proud about what they had just accomplished. As she walked past you and back into the tavern itself.
Maybe
Ken,
even shift just a little bit.
the woman finishes out her contract and kind of turns the scroll towards you. All right, so I just need you to press your thumbprint right here, and that will go ahead and magically bind the contract to you. I do warn you that these are magically binding contracts, and there will be no way to get out of the terms of agreement as we have outlined them here. Upon the delivery of the item promised, the contract will be concluded and the mark removed. Until then, the small mark around your wrist will be there, although not visible, so don't worry about that. It is just going to alert you if you attempt to renege on our agreement here. So, whenever you are ready, go ahead and press your thumb right there.
So
Okay.
if somebody doesn't do it, what happens?
They are incentivized to follow up on what they've agreed with.
I like the way he said that.
In what way?
Do you push your thumb?
Just going over it one more time. Just make sure it's on the up and up.
Roll me an intelligence check as you read through. Okay, 15. It seems on the up and up. The legalese that they use here is a little bit more fluid than you're used to. There's a little bit of obscurity in the terms of what happens if you don't. There's no you'll be punished by beheading or anything like that, but it seems to indicate some sort of giving up of a freedom in order, or if you that if you don't if you don't deliver, that your freedoms are forfeit until you do, essentially.
Okay. I mean, I was gonna, I'm being up front. I'm gonna build it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I mean, I see no reason to be afraid. So I'll thumbprint go.
All right, you press your thumbprint, and she smiles and looks over at me. Just hope that you never have to find out. It's well, don't renege on any deals while you're here within Astrazalian. That's probably my best advice. So, she reaches down, and I mean, this bag is big because the 100 token sizes are the biggest ones they have, and there are 250 of these tokens in here. So each one being about 3/4 of an inch long, maybe half an inch wide. Things about the size of a basketball.
Neat.
Anyway,
She-
going into the bag of holding.
Yep. Shoop. Another nice trick. Well, enjoy your stay here with Astrazalian, and if you have any questions, you know where to find us.
Thank
As you turn and walk, Mia, you can see the woman that you had initially started with. Her head is just in her hands. She has like one token in front of her that she's like flipping over and over. The guy on the opposite side is just smiling and just staring at her just expectantly.
Oh man.
Said 25,000.
Titty
I guess-
tokens.
Yeah.
TTs.
To tease.
I could call them pies because it kind of looks like the pie symbol. All right, you. Because I like the favor. I just don't know because like the queen's favors, that indicates Titania's going to be doing something. You know?
Royal tokens.
Like yeah, royal token, favor token,
Summer token.
a royal favor. That's what we'll call them. They're royal favors. I like it. I've taken a little bit of both of them. So you have 25,000 royal favors. They probably call them royals, just in like colloquialism. You head back down the stairs to meet back up with the remainders of your parties who have been just kind of observing the Eladrin going about their day-to-day lives.
Time to go on a shopping spree.
I'm
Buy
sure.
everything.
I'm sure it'll go as far as we're hoping it will.
Yeah, I am curious about that that shop with the baubles and stuff. That was mentioned earlier. I want to take a peek there briefly and
Yeah.
then head over to the Magic Academy.
Heck yeah.
All right. Everybody going together?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting. All right. You head out of Midsummer's Night and walk back up the lit and noisy and very populated cobblestone road here within Astrazalian. It's not far before you come across the small curio shop that had been pointed out to you, kind of built into the side of this massive, almost coral-like pink tree with these white bone-like protrusions of branches that create this very surreal and fey-like look. And as you step into the shop itself, there are these like small gardens filled with the glowing like bulb trees that you've seen littered here and there, predominantly within the swamp. Let me go ahead and drop your tokens there, and as you enter in, another young summer Eladrin who's standing in the middle of the shop, kind of in front of one of these small tables that has a bunch of trinkets laid out on it, turns around at the sound of a bell and sees the five of you enter and smiles. Welcome to Flinders. How can we assist you today?
Oh, hello. We were. Oh God.
No,
We were recommended this place by a very popular friend of ours. I was hoping to stop by, say hi, and maybe shop around and maybe find something to take back home as a souvenir.
Well, absolutely. We could we can assist you there. We have a wide variety of magically enchanted and built items here within the Fey Wild. Let's see. Sizes you guys all up and down. As you all head in, and I'm guessing start looking around, everybody roll me a perception check. Okay. All right. So you see a number of familiar looking magical items, at least to Oni and Nick, especially Nick, recognizing they have hats of disguise as well as cloaks of many fashions. They've got robes of useful items, mostly more common and uncommon magical items, and things that tend to lean more towards like the natural or self-augmentation, like making you look prettier. They have let's see, I had a handful of things that I had set aside. Nick, you see two things that jump out at you. The first being a little baggie of dust, it looks like.
It's cocaine.
That's how I got through wizard school. I would notice it anywhere.
It draws your attention because it has this kind of like metallic-y tang to the air around it. And as you are like investigating the items here within the shop, Ken is talking to the shopkeeper and kind of going over what you guys have, what you might be looking for. You pick it up and it's heavy. It has a lot of like weight into it. It's hard to describe it without actually like touching the dust, which you know instinctively not
Touch
to do.
it.
Nip it.
Let's start second half, man.
Right?
Grab a
You gotta
handful of heavy metallic dust real quick.
Congratulations, you now have lead poisoning.
Woo!
You
The
set
Burke
the
Village.
little baggie down and then start looking around at other things, and you find a shelf of pipes, each intricately carved like a different monster. There's one that's carved to look like the head of a dragon. There's one that's carved to look like the head of like the I'm trying to think of what fey monsters there would be that would make sense. Yeah, a fairy dragon. Well, ironically, there are no fey dragons. They've mentioned a few times that that dragons don't exist here. There are a few that have more of like an insectoid-like look to them, but most of them are carved in more familiar animals to you: wolves, bears, things from the material planes like dragons, and they have an innately magical feel to them. But there are a number of them here. For Oni,
Pipes for the cocaine.
you start looking around and you head over towards one wall where they have it's like a flower arrangement along the wall, but the flowers themselves aren't natural. They look like they're growing out of the wall, but as you looked in that direction, they caught your eye, and there was like a little bit of a glimmer or a shine that reminded you of freedom. And so you head over and you start looking at these roses that are growing in the wall, and you find that they are let's see, I'm trying to find if they have any sort of physical description to them in this. No, they seem to be made of like a thin metal and have a detailed sylvan script written around, and they are in 5 very distinct, very recognizable colors: black, blue, red, white, and green.
Are they like movable? Can I pick them up?
You reach out. Which one do you pick up?
Probably red.
Okay, So you pick up the red one, and as you do, you take it off the wall, and a small flame around the head of the rose. It doesn't feel warm in your hand, but it gives off a slight bit of light, and it looks like if you're holding the rose with the stem through your middle finger, and it looks like you're holding a small fireball in your hand.
That's pretty cool. Now Oni is curious and he'll grab one of the other ones. See what
What color?
he'll pick one at random. Just
Okay.
to see what happens.
All right. You trust in fate and close your eyes and reach out. And let me pull up my page again. Where was it?
Explodes.
You grab a black one off the shelf, and the same thing happens. Like the bloom of the rose begins to be encircled in this like deep greenish black smoke, and as it does, these little droplets come between your fingers and drop onto the ground, and there's a tss, and you look down and there's a tiny little pock mark in the wood where the acid dripped off your hand and landed. But then you look closer at the wood and you see dozens, hundreds of other pock marks here, where everybody's pretty much done the same thing. So
Okay, I don't feel as bad then.
yeah.
Oni will just kind of like hold them up for Nick and Eric to see, like, what's up with these.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Is it dust of corrosion?
Roll me an Arcana check. As you head over towards where Oni is, okay, Nick will be over here. Yeah, picking flowers. You look over at it, and they do look familiar. You have read about these items in the past, though you've never seen one before. It is a chromatic rose. And you know that they can be utilized for a couple of different purposes. You can either use the rose to essentially do a small dragon's breath, or if you're carrying the rose and are hit by an attack like a dragon's breath, and you have that same color rose in your hand, you can sacrifice the rose to take no damage.
That's pretty cool.
25, as you weigh that bag back in your hand, kind of like feel that tang between your, not really between your fingers, but like you can smell it. It is a bag of dust of corrosion.
Technically, that's not magical, correct? Because it's made from rust monsters, ground up rust monsters.
That is true. Hold on. That is fair. And a rust monster is... It is actually magical because a rust monster is a
magical?
monstrosity. Yep.
Damn.
So
I was
it
wondering
is-
because I was thinking if it's not magical, anti-magic field, throw that at it.
Ooh.
Right?
But
That
if
could
it
be
is
good for the
magical,
vault door.
well, the thing is, if the dust is magical, which I think you just said it was, then it would just turn off the dust.
Let's ask Google.
Deactivating the dust.
Uh,
Are rust monsters magical?
Yeah, it is. It is a magical item. Yep. That's what
Yeah.
that's where my instinct was, but I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing any other arguments that could be made.
I mean,
is it
if
because
you...
the parasites in them are magical parasites? That's why they're able to eat iron.
Yeah, that must be it.
So, like, in theory, you could dispel magic on the door, maybe.
Yeah.
And then
Depends how much
melt it.
magic things they got. I mean, it could still be useful. You'd be like, no floor for you if they're chasing us.
Pocket destruction.
Yeah, we can add this to that. Also, I would say the disguise items might actually be good as well.
Make yourself look like a guard, but really short.
but really short.
Or just someone else in general, without having to use like spell slots and stuff.
What if you use a hat of disguise to become Titania?
Well, if you made yourself
I'm
look
sure that would
exactly
work.
like Bastille, but you were still your height.
Tiny Bastille.
But it would be infinitely funnier if he turned himself into Bastille, but Nicholas's height. It's like when Pip used to use disguise self and turn into
Right.
this astral elves, but he was just a little guy. Just a little guy.
And so it lets you cast disguise self, which I think gives you a foot of like wiggle room.
I can
if
be 1 foot taller.
Yeah, 1 foot shorter or taller.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's tall enough. I'm assuming the pipes are like the smoke pipes that like let you conjure the illusion of the animal.
It is 25. Yeah. So these ones are the pipe of smoke monsters. So it just takes the form of a single creature. The shape of the pipe is immaterial. They were just cosmetic. You can dictate the creature when you create it. It just has to be small enough to fit in a 1 foot cube.
Tiny dragon.
Tiny
Yeah, I
dragon.
was about to say tiny dragon.
Is it do damage, or is it just like an illusion smoke that scares things?
Yeah, it's just a puff of smoke that exists for only a few seconds before they're just a common magical item.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Nick probably has like a couple back in his tower, and it's more of like a nostalgia thing when you look at it.
Gotcha. I cut out my own pipe collection.
Mia,
So you don't forget what animals look like. Yes.
with a 20, you are immediately drawn to a bolt of cloth that seems to be shifting between multiple different colors. Red, blue, green, and yellow, and it just sort of flows between them, and it looks like it's about the size of like a cloak, but it's just this piece of cloth wrapped up on itself.
Definitely pick it up and look at it. What
Okay.
is this?
It is magical. You can tell that at an instant as soon as you look at it and kind of like hold it in your hand, and as you do, you can feel it like there's something you could shift within it. You can tell it which color you want it to be. Of those 4: red, yellow, green, or blue.
That's neat. What if I make it red?
You hold it in your hand, kind of focus on the color red, and the cloth shimmers for a second and shifts entirely into the red hue. And as it does, another spell within it seems to take effect, going from this really like baseline gradual change. There's now an abjurative effect to the magic. Something about this is now going to offer protective magic.
That's pretty neat.
I'm having fun with it because it's fun, like giving these vague descriptions and having you guys figure this out. This is fun. Oh, there was one other thing I had. Where did the... All right. Well, circling back to Ken, who was kind enough to speak to the woman as you guys came in. As your friends scurry off to go and examine the store and check out all the fancy things, Ken, she looks at you and smiles, kind of like watches as they go to their corners. So, are you here for anything in particular today? Are you looking for things to assist with day-to-day life? Do you need any sort of healing or recovery or restorative magics to help make things just a little easier? What can we do for you today, my friend?
It's mostly curiosity that got the better of me. And then, like I said, we're new here, so I just wanted to just browse, and I saw well, as you can see, my friends are very excited to be here as well. So,
See, well,
have you ever had anyone bring in anything related to metallic dragons or chromatic dragons, dragons in general, or anything involving dragon deities?
Not particularly. I mean, we have the closest we get to the dragons are going to be the chromatic roses, which grow here within the Summer Vale. Just trying to think. I had heard a rumor years ago that Titania was seeking something about the chromatics, and that was what triggered the harvest of these roses. But that is just rumor and hearsay, so it's only worth so much. Unfortunately, as far as magical curiosities go, nothing having to do with the gods or dragons.
Okay then. Oh, no worries then.
However, if you are looking for uniqueness, this is something that Master Flinder himself brewed up that it can be so infinitely helpful. And she turns around, and off the table, she picks up one of about a dozen of these potions. It is a potion that I need to get the description for. Where is the... Oh, come on. I have so many tabs open. As you look at it, it looks like the potion bottle is filled with a golden, sparkling mist, and as she moves it around, the mist itself flows within the potion like water. And she goes, "This is a potion of advantage. It will make whatever you're trying to do easier. Give you a little bit of a increase in ability, almost like you have a helping hand guiding you through whatever you're trying to do, whether that's build something, climb something, fix something, or even resist something. This potion can assist with it."
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. Those are definitely tempting. How much would these be?
The potions of advantage go for, let's see, converting 500 tokens, or 500 royals.
That's per bottle, I'm assuming.
Yes, that is per potion.
How much for the dust?
The dust would be 450 royals.
How much are those robes that we came here to scoop up?
25.
The robes, or the
Yeah,
robes of useful thing
Oh, okay.
that we were talking about.
dust is robe of useful items. It's all on rarity.
I think it's an uncommon.
Yeah, those are 550 each.
And what is this thing? She'll hold up the color changing cloth.
That
It's so
is
cool.
that is called. That's not the right one. No, that is called chroma cloth. It is a simple bolt of fabric that can be attuned to one of 4 different elements, usually utilized to help traverse some of the more threatening and dangerous aspects of the Feywild. It can be used to resist heat, storms, poison, or the cold itself, depending on where you are going.
It's pretty cool.
And it is also, that one is 400 royals.
I mean, we got so many, we can afford any of this stuff.
Yeah, we just got to make sure we give Ken the time to make that. What you call it? Whenever we go back, don't forget it, so that he doesn't get wrapped up in indentured servitude.
What's the worst that could happen?
I don't know.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. We just buy 1 potion for everyone, and then we grab the dust, the robe, and the chroma cloth.
All right,
Wait a
can one of you guys potentially scope their selection of robes out to see if we can guarantee we get one with the?
The window. I mean, I can sit and look at them, I guess, but
Yeah.
and- yeah, I guess I'll go over to the robes of the useful items and see if any of them look like they have the one of the window patches.
Okay. Roll me an investigation check.
Flash your genius.
Okay.
Investigation.
Okay.
Don't
23.
forget.
That's not bad. You head over towards where the robes are, and I'll just say they're like right there. And you start thumbing through them. There are half a dozen different robes of useful things, and they all have at least 2 windows on them. The one
Hell yeah.
that you end up finding
Oh yeah.
with a 23. Okay.
Maybe you'll get one with a horse or multiple horses.
So, let's see. This one, so the one you find is full, and I mean it is like packed full because they can have anywhere from 12 to like 28 items, depending on how well the DM rolls when the item is created. Because you roll 4d4 to determine how many other patches it has. So let's see how many of the extra 14 on the 4d4. I rolled 14.
Hell yeah.
See how many of those are windows. Okay, so to the following deck. Okay. 11. The other ones were that one. 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then there was Aerith, roll me a d6. Yep.
Hell yeah, hell
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I need Aerith to once again roll me. Just roll me a d20.
Roll a 20. Oh.
8.
Hey, maybe that one's a good one. You don't know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then. Okay, so as Mia flips through and kind of looks through the different robes, you push away the ones that seem depleted, that don't have windows, that don't have what you need, and then you finally find one that seems like tucked into the back, and it is just packed with patches. And as you go over all of them, this is the list of patches on it.
Right. Daggers, lanterns, spear, poles, doors, ladder, 1 horse, 2 pits, some potions, robot, puppies, ram, 3 windows, and spell magic. Yeah, I like that one. Cool. She'll take that one and go over to Oni, or not Oni, Nick. Just, hey, this one looks like it would be very good on you. And she kind of gives you like a wink and holds it up.
So just double checking. So it's random what you get each time, correct?
Mm-hmm. When you pull a patch, you roll the D100 and you get that one. Or no, hold on.
I think you just pulled the patch.
Yeah, you can pull the patch.
Oh.
You roll the
Yeah.
D100s. That's what I rolled to populate it. And
Gotcha.
You guys,
okay,
I
yeah, this
rolled,
is perfect then.
yeah, really well.
I don't think my cloak is magical. I'm gonna double check before I replace it. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I just have a normal cloak. So yeah.
In addition to the potions of advantage, my friend, we have this, which is useful for any adventuring party or anybody traversing the wilds. It's called a pole of collapsing. Sometimes you just need to be able to poke at something that's far away, but you don't want to have to be carrying around something large and 10 foot long the entire time. And as she turns around, she takes this like 1 foot long rod out and holds it out in front of Ken and clicks a button, and 5 feet on either end go and a 10-foot pole just establishes itself right between the two of you. So this can help solve that problem by collapsing into a much smaller and easier to carry form, and then enabling you to extend it and poke at things outside of the splash zone, I guess I'll call it.
Oh, this is neat. Let's hold off on that one. I'm gonna keep my eye on that one, but let me see what my friends are wanting to grab first, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, if you have any questions, let me know.
Is that 1 mastiff or 2 mastiffs?
1 patch with 2 puppies.
Gotcha. So 1, 2
It
mastiffs.
summons 2 mastiffs at the same time. Yep.
Gotcha.
I am so surprised you gave up that robe after everything that Pip did. No, the useful items. Gave it to Nick.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's the one who needs it to go
I know.
doing the stuff, though.
It's true.
If I have any patches left over when we get Rose back, I can give it to her. How about that?
You have to promise me that you leave the rowboat somewhere. Because when I rolled a 70 and I saw that I rolled a rowboat onto that, I was like, no,
I'm
not
going
again.
to use it only for bad things, I promise.
To be fair, it would be funny if they opened the vault and it's a rowboat.
It would be.
It's just Todd in a rowboat with a note
Mm-hmm.
saying "fuck you."
I will do something funny with the rowboat. I will say that. I will think of something to do with the rowboat. If we have pixie dust to put on the rowboat, and then we just fly through the air on a rowboat.
As you
that'd be
think that,
hilarious.
there are other piles of dust, bags of dust next to where you found the dust of corrosion.
I don't think I would do that here. I think I would just do it as a joke in like the material plane, just to
You
fuck
just
with
need
the commoners.
you need to like permanently cast fly to make it a flying rowboat, so that that can be your means of flight, so that you don't have to ride with Aerith.
Hold on, let me pull out my
rolling through the air
magical
everywhere.
flying rowboat.
Let me pull out my how big is it? What is a 12-foot long rowboat?
Oh no.
That's how I travel everywhere I go.
Yeah. That
I
would
mean,
be
I'll just
amazing.
fly really high up in the air, just be a UAV
So it looks
or
smaller.
bomb support, and just blast people from a tiny boat flying in the sky.
Right?
I make levitate purple. Well, I want it to go high though, because I don't think levitate can go too high.
It's like I've got a couple other items I wanted to
I want to see them. Tell me.
show you guys. So
I will look at everything.
Okay. The one that Mia sees, because I think Mia would be the one that is most drawn to this one, is as you hand over the cloak to Nick and you start, talking about the plans for the evening, you look over and you see what looks like a lily pad hanging on the wall. It's about 10 foot in diameter, and it's just sort of like stuck onto the wall, almost like a tapestry. But it is there.
Also, yes.
You walk over to it, and it is innately magical. You get that same kind of sense to it. Roll me an Arcana check.
Look, Nick, I found a giant lily pad.
What is the giant lily pad?
If you want, you can
There
roll
it
me
is.
an Arcana check too, Nick.
I would like
Okay,
to roll
go for it.
Arcana with my plus 17.
Okay. So Mia, what you recognize about it is that it seems to have some sort of levitation magic to it. Well, right now it is mounted and like hanging on the wall. You get the sense of it being able to float, and that's easy to imagine. It's a lily pad, but you believe that it could float through the air. And as you're kind of like looking at it and gauging the different like vibes of the magic that are coming off of these waves of just small levels of enchantment, Nick, you look at it and you see something similar but through a different lens. This appears to be a physical incarnation of Tensor's floating disc. Similar but larger and permanent. So
Todd's floating
whereas
Oh,
Tensor's
yeah.
floating disc is smaller, being a first level spell, it's only about 3 feet in diameter and can only hold, I guess it can hold 500 pounds. This one, it doesn't look like it can hold as much weight, but it is larger, and you get the sense that it is not bound to the earth as tightly as Tensor's disc, that it could fly free were you given the instruction to it.
That's
You
kind of
can
nice.
fly on a lily pad.
If you
Just
wanted to,
Todd on a lily pad is just the funniest thing.
if you want to look it up, it's the bobbing lily pad from Wilds Beyond the website.
Probably going to be expensive, but it's also really cool.
That is really cool.
It would be
Can
5,000 royal.
Can we fold it up or no? Oh, and it requires attunement.
It does.
Todd can attune to it.
You could drop it in the hole because the diameter of the hole and the lily pad are the same, so it could like float up and out of the hole. But that
That'd
would
be
probably be the
hilarious.
only way to move it. But that was one that I wanted to put in here because it's just
I love it. Let's buy
It's
it.
too funny.
yeah.
Sadly, I don't think I can attune to it without becoming way more squishy.
Oni, while they're looking at the lily pad, you are over on this side of the shop looking at these chromatic roses, and as Aerith kind of analyzes and identifies them, another item draws your attention. This one in a glass case, a pair of beautiful ornate scissors, shadow black and against a like almost ivory white pillow, with a sign on the outside that says "Scissors of Shadow Snipping."
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, that sounds dope. To just be a little parasite. What do they do? Aerith, are you familiar with this scissors game? Can I like flag down? Is this an employee or is this a dude just walking around like we are?
That's just a shopper, but you can definitely flag down the one that's talking with Ken because she's just keeping like small talk going right now. So
Yeah,
you-
then I definitely would like holding a hand up politely, not interrupting, but just trying to get her attention to ask about these.
looks like one of your friends has found something. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. She comes over. Yes. What can I? Oh, I see. Ah, yes. The scissors of shadow snipping. One of the more interesting and questionable items here within the store. It has the ability to sever one's own shadow from themselves or from another. Now, if the other is not willing, the shadow might resist that and may not be cut. But if you are able to cut your shadow, you can then command it to move unhindered and potentially, let's see, let me make sure that I'm doing all this right.
You can just fucking Peter Pan someone. And
Yeah,
steal their
pretty
shadow.
much. It's pretty much Peter Panning. Alternatively, I will say though, when your shadow is separated, if you relinquish control of that shadow, they are not always friendly. And so use these with caution. This is why we have them encased. And I'll go ahead and give you guys the name so you can look them up again in the they're just from Wilds Beyond the Witchlight. These ones are 5,500 royal tokens.
All right, they're getting a little expensive.
Yeah, we're getting into the rares.
Damn it! Now I'm curious. What's the peak of the shop? What's the top shelf? of the shop?
Top shelf. Let's see.
I'm just curious.
Right? Best item.
You see, it's not top shelf, but you see a bunch of small toy birds that are like laid out in a line on one of the shelves. While I do a little bit of snipping.
Shadow snipping.
Yep.
Snip, snip, snip.
And as far as
What happens if you snip Oni's shadow? Does it
It's
echo?
Well, my
Put his-
echo is it my well. See, that's the thing. It was flavored as a shadow for Eris because of his story. It's not actually a shadow. It's
okay.
it's like a resonance of every iteration of you across like
the multiverse.
yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But apparently, If you let go of the shadow, you can just let it use the shadow stat block, and it becomes
Yeah.
a fae instead of a undead, and it can just cause a distraction for you, I guess. If you snip,
Right?
you just start snipping shadows and sending them out. Good luck, everybody.
Have fun. Bye.
Okay, Ken, roll me an investigation check as you start to poke around and look for the creme de la crop of the store. 'Cause I know what I'm gonna put there. Okay. As you begin to look around, you find a number of interesting, mostly just mundane or close enough to it, so minutely magical that they're not like too impressive. It's mostly just interesting seeing the more natural way that magic is attuned to the items here, because they don't have the same draconic scripture on the outside that you normally associate with arcane enchantment, nor do you see any mana circuits of artificery. It's like natural enchantment here. As you begin to kind of look around and poke around, you find yourself drawn to more of like the encased items, hoping to find like something interesting or rare. You glance through, and I'm just going to say there's like probably a back room back here, and you see something very large just past one of the curtains that draws your attention. And as you kind of poke back there, you draw the curtain back, and what you see looks like, it reminds you of the Starlight Dragon. It looks like a contraption, almost like a horse, where you've got or a small canoe with a propeller, not behind it to push the water, on top of it. It has two little runners that come out the side and have it sitting down on the ground. And
Fucking helicopter.
it appears to be some sort of flying machine.
Oh boy. I bet that costs all of my tokens. Yeah.
You have to ask at least how much it is.
Yeah, I gotta,
Okay. As you flag down the attendant, and she kind of like runs over. Oh, I see you have found our back room. Yes, the ornithopter is 22,000 royal tokens.
We could buy it. Nothing else, but we could buy it.
What does it do? Does it do anything crazy besides fly? Because I feel like at this point, with all of us able to fly,
It's yes, it's a flying machine. It has a flying speed of 30 feet, and you can fly in it. It doesn't require attunement. It is relatively light, and she kind of like walks over, and as she walks past you, Ken, you follow her into this back room. The back room is large, and this thing is big. Like, it's about 8 feet long, has a 14-foot wide wingspan of these large cloth wings that go out the side. But as she heads over, she like grabs it by the side, and she manages to lift it up on her own.
damn.
So it only weighs about 25 pounds. It is large, so it's hard to, get in and out places. We had to use an enlarge reduce spell to get it back here in the first place, which we could do again to get it out for you. But if you were interested, it is a way of owning the skies for yourself.
You do ornithopter rides around the city.
They probably do. The Astrazalian tours actually have a fleet of these that they bring the lighter members. They can only hold about 300 pounds at a time in the air. Anything more than that, and it will crash to the ground. But an interesting find nonetheless.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a little outside of my budget. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to respectfully decline. But I appreciate the description, and it's really neat. I have something of a similar, albeit fake, design back home.
Ah,
A little bit bigger, but yeah,
I see.
yeah,
Well,
it's really fun.
then in that case, may I possibly show you something that is of equal rarity, also expensive, but given the nature and your inquisitive personality, as well as what I've seen of your friends, it might appeal to you. And she kind of takes you by the hand and leads you over to these like tables where this gentleman is.
Move.
Takes a small like velvet box, probably about 4 inches wide, like almost looks like a necklace box, and she holds it to you and opens it up. And what you see, Ken, is something not precisely like what it reminds you of, but it reminds you of Namir's key, a beautifully carved metallic key, and one of the only things you've seen here that's really made of metal. Even the ornithopter was mostly wood and cloth and things like that, but this is very, very well sculpted metal. And as she like holds it up, this is what is known as the Archivist's Key. It was brought to us many, many years ago by an ancient mage from your world who desired a place where he could find the knowledge of the universe. So he crafted this. It, when utilized, can open a door to a mansion, and within that mansion is an ever-changing and evolving library of books and information, nursery rhymes to the secrets of magic, all within here, all changing. Yeah,
What the
Eric, you like you're probably talking with Oni. Your ears perk. It's like archivist. Ken looks to the right, and Aerith's just there, and she smiles.
Book.
It also provides you with a mansion that you can then design to your own heart's desire. Kitchen, staff, rooms for you to find respite and relaxation in, and it is impossible to enter unless you are welcomed or have the key yourself.
You didn't lose it.
Yeah.
I know exactly where it is.
Ah, man, that's. Besides Aerith, I'll look over and give them a like a knowing grin. I know a couple of people back home that would have a field day with this. I'm assuming the asking price is equally as potent as the
This-
effects of this key.
This one does run 23,000 royal tokens.
Yep.
So, shopkeeper, what if I were to build you, say, a homunculus?
No. I'm already contracted to. I already got to block off 4 to 5 hours of the day with one. I can't do anymore. Yeah. Like, if this is any other situation, like, I think Ken would be down to get it because, information that he could use to improve his artificery. Obviously, Aerith's having could have a field day with the information as well.
Since this one's not a D&D item, this one came out of Griffin's saddlebag. I'll post that there.
Right?
We could always come back in like 20 years.
You could?
I'm sure it'll still be here. Do it. Do it.
I could teach him a magic spell, maybe? I don't know if
You
they
guys
would
discuss-
feel magic spells.
Oh, well, yeah, the Royals. That's given. Haven't done this in a while. What would you feel it is equal? I think that's how it's been done in the past. Oh, you look through your stuff. I'm gonna feed my dog because she's barking at me.
I'm
I
also
mean,
going to briefly skedaddle real quick.
it's also not like we have a lot we're trying to buy, so if you guys want to grab it, we got 25,000. We only need like what, 500
least-
something for the robe.
Yeah, we need the robe, and I know Nick wanted the dust, and Ken wanted the potions, although I don't know if we need them necessarily. But
I mean, I would prioritize. So, how many coins do we have left after we buy everything?
Well, if we get the potion for everyone, like you said, that's what, 5 of us.
yeah, at
So
500 apiece.
that's 2,500 right off the top.
Yeah.
And
What if
then another
only
550 for the robe, and another 450 for yours.
Yeah.
So that's another 1,000.
And I did like the chroma cloth too.
3,900 so
yeah.
far.
do we? I don't know if we need 5 potions though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. It just gives you one advantage on like anything, which would be nice, but
So it's how long does it last, or is it just one advantage?
I think it's just one roll. Yeah.
I mean, to me, I don't know. I don't know if that potion.
Right.
I feel like there's other ways to give yourself advantage that is not so expensive.
Yeah.
Like have someone just do the help action. Ta-da.
Yeah, I can essentially give myself advantage with my metamagic stuff.
Yeah, and important, I can kind of just give myself whatever I want, and lucky. So I think I'm golden on that.
So let's see. So if we get the key, we have 2,000 left. We need the 550, right? And then the 450 and the 400 for the other 2 items, which is something about. Yeah, right? Do math.
It was so 22 or 23.5, and then what was the other stuff you were getting?
It's just like, I know Ken wanted to get the potions of advantage, but if we don't get those, then if we get the key and then the dust, the robe, and the chroma cloth, would we be able to afford that? So we could get that and one of those potions, and we'd be right at the limit. You sold both of those.
Yeah, I think you sold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me check my inventory of things.
Like, I have something that I could trade probably just flat out for the key, but I don't know if guys would appreciate it, I suppose.
I mean, we still have celestial lotuses. But
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I could trade that, and she'd probably take that for the key, but
I got a wand of magic tricks. That literally just does. All it does is weird parlor tricks. Like I can turn it into a flower. I can make it shoot tiny fireworks. Like it's just like it's like a kid's.
I'm sure that would be worth this awesome key, right?
That's like
The key to
5.
infinite knowledge. I'm sure they'll take like
Yeah,
small fireworks,
right?
a puff of smoke.
What
I
a
mean,
deal.
well, we just have to have it equal how much we're short. So 1,500.
Well, we're not short.
We're not short
we have
anything.
2,500.
Oh, we have 2,500. Oh,
25,000.
Or that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
gotcha.
while I
But
was
so we
gone,
could get one
I
potion.
was stewing on it. I'm gonna decide against the potions. I realized that we probably
That works out because that
That's
was
pretty much what
we
decided
already
to.
kind of cut that while you were away, and we were
okay.
gonna have to break that to you. But glad you came to that decision also.
Yeah, so I was probably just say we should probably obviously grab the dust, the cloth, the robe.
Robe and the key. Yeah, if
Yeah.
we do all that, we can afford it, and we could afford technically one of the potions,
Yeah,
and then
so
that
if
would be it.
if you do want one of the potions, we can grab one of the potions.
Nah, it should
And
be fine.
then, so we have 500 coins left over. Do we want to try and get extra coins? So we have, or because I don't know if we'll need to spend coins on anything else.
I think Bastille say he's supposed to. Isn't Bastille covering us while we're here?
I
Well,
mean,
I was
he's
thinking of
paying food and it's
Magic
just
Food and
whether-
lodging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so
Yeah.
food and stuff is on us.
Well, no,
Yeah.
he's basically covering
No,
your
he's
hotel, your food,
Okay.
everything that you need here.
Okay.
It'd just be if you wanted anything to like play games with, gamble
Mm.
with, shop with. That was what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Ken doesn't really gamble, so
It's
I'm
food,
also
food and
worried,
lodging.
we'll go to like the Magic Academy or the library. It's like, oh, to access these special books, you need
Yeah.
you need 501 coins. Oh, only 500. Oh, that's too bad.
It's okay. I have 100 myself. We've got 600.
okay. Yeah. That's where I'm at in regards to the purchases. So
I have cold weather gear.
Congrats.
Good to know.
How much would you be willing to buy that? Probably useless here.
Be like maybe 50 tokens, 50 royals ish. It's essentially like a gold is 10 royals. So that's the like price point that I've been playing with.
Gotcha. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with our purchases. I just hope we don't run into anything else where it's like, shit, we need money.
I mean, then we just trade other things.
Trade your soul.
Like your body.
Oh.
hey, yo.
Nick could get it.
Huh? No. 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 We are not doing that.
Oh.
Todd
He's
will.
not in college.
Todd will.
He's past those days. He had to put himself through wizarding college somehow, you know.
Right? I mean, that's not out of the realms for you. That's fine. Probably.
Ouch. Rose popped through there for like 1 second.
I mean, nah, I mean, I'm a cloistered scholar. If anything, I could just yell at them to let me in the Magic Academy.
Old man yells at clouds.
Yes.
All right, so key dust.
Do you know who I
flopping
am? How
Yeah.
much magic I've studied?
Do you know who I am?
I'm not telling you because you're all fake. All right, who's
I love
carrying the key so we don't lose it this time?
Me.
both
I
both
want the
the
claw.
OG wanderers like I'm. Oh, okay. Aerith immediately trust Ken.
No, hold on. Ken, didn't you explode last time and lose everything?
You do kind of absorb everything into yourself when you become Ascalon.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
That means
Well,
if you
now-
die,
However, Aerith has
Aerith,
bad luck.
you cannot
You can't say
decline
no.
being revived.
Right? Not allowed to say no anymore.
It's such a toss-up. Aerith's bad luck versus Ken's Ascalon. Who do we
Oh,
trust more?
Oh no.
I think
what dice
I
are worth
should keep
rolling
it.
on? All right. Well, that leaves you guys with 500 tokens left.
Technically 600. I had 100.
Oh, that's true. As she takes the bag of tokens from you and literally just like weighs it out on a scale, determines that it's the right size, takes out 5, and hands you the change, Ken. All right. Well, that should be everything you need. We'll get your cloth all folded up for you here. Kind of like
I'm just
bundle
gonna
everything
hold it.
together. Perfect deal. The robe is going to. I see
The
he's
short
already
one.
got it.
That's
Probably, am I
Nick's.
going to trip on it?
No, even though the patches are like packed in there pretty tight, when you put it around your shoulders, it shortens up to your height and the patches shrink down to the right size.
As fun as it'd be to have a giant trail or cape trailing behind me as I
It's
walk.
like, yeah, like a bride.
The guards will never know where I am as they follow this trail. I wonder who that guy's going.
And then the dust. I'm guessing Nick is heading. Holding on to
Yes.
that. All right. All right.
Trip and
Well.
fall, spill it everywhere.
Is there anything else that we here at Flinders can do to assist you all today?
I think we're good. But thank you so much. This has been
Do you happen to
a
have
very
blueprints of the vault? I'm not asking that. But I mean, it's like, oh, do you have any blueprints onto the castle we're totally not going to rob?
Those you look for at the Magic Academy, right?
Mm,
Do they have an engineering school here?
Is there any relevance before we leave to why this one person has a completely different token to everyone else?
Who are you?
there
That's
is,
special.
but everyone in here is somewhat different. To Oni's keen eye, and since you were the one that asked, this person, though he looks very similar, he's got that same kind of like summer Eladrin look, blonde hair, pointed ears. He has watched you all very, very closely. Not obviously, he's been kind of shopping about, but Oni, you've clocked him a couple times where he looks over at Ken and he looks at Mia, kind of like gets the rest of the party. He doesn't give off any hostile vibes, which is the only reason you haven't like brought it up to the party up till now. But as you guys are heading out, you turn around one last time and it's almost like that feeling of he just looked away from you right when you turn to see if he was still watching you.
Alright, glad I asked. On
Okay.
the way
So
out.
we wait like right outside the door and wait for him to come out to follow us and like
Put a
knock him
bag
out,
over
right?
his head,
Yeah.
tie him up,
Yeah.
question him somewhere.
Exactly.
Do you?
Yes.
I don't know if we want to tie him up.
No.
I mean, I also can say you all don't need to stay together. I appreciate you staying together, but you don't need to.
Can we
I
not
mean,
bag
did
up
Oni
the guy?
did you tell the rest of us that he was watching us?
Yeah, Oni would have casually said it in a way that it looked like we were just having a conversation with his back to him so he couldn't read his lips. Let you know that he was watching us throughout
Okay.
our shop.
Well, as long as he doesn't, as long as he's not a threat, I see no reason to engage with him. I mean, we're not doing anything except like sightseeing. We're just sightseeing.
I mean, exactly. So then why is he watching us?
Just a couple
Uh,
tourists on vacation.
Who knows? Just
But I want to
try
know.
not to. Well, I could only come up with theories, none of which will probably be solid. My guess
Then
is
that's why you ask.
great question. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna ask.
No.
Oh boy.
I would say just see if they follow us to the Magic Academy.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna wait right outside the door. You guys, you can go ahead, and I'll catch up.
No, ma'am. I am gonna stick right beside you.
No, ma'am.
Okay, we can wait here, and you guys can go ahead, and we'll catch up.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a bit.
Said, no, ma'am.
Thank you, Dice. Thank you so much. I love it when you give me what I need. It's so good. All right. So as Ken and Mia kind of post up outside of Flinders, the thoroughfares in this city are very they're crowded, similar to how you would remember like Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep, these massive packed cities that are all built in and in and in and in and in. And there are a lot of people, like there's just a lot of foot traffic moving up and down the street, people coming in and out of the shop. As you watch Nick, Oni, and Aerith head towards the Magical Academy, kind of walking off into the east towards where you know it is down south, at least relative on the map. You guys find a nice comfortable like bench to sit on where you can still see the front of the magic shop, and you wait. You wait for about an hour before the face that you're waiting for steps out the door. And while the rest of the party is walking towards the bloom, you all make yourselves comfortable, and we'll go with them for a second. So as you catch this vision of him heading out the door and like look at each other and give that nod of, okay, let's go find out what's up. We'll switch over to Nick, Aerith, and Oni as the three of you head towards the bloom, this massive cluster of trees that is instantly recognizable from pretty much anywhere in the city, just like the palaces. You can see where this layered cluster going maybe 300 feet into the air of trees is. And you head towards it, following looks like the path comes down this way, the road past fancy, beautiful, well-maintained houses with these pristine yards out front being tended to. It's probably the first time that you've seen a satyr or any of the other more beast-like races, but this, as you start coming through this residential area, you see more and more of those peoples, but they don't seem to be living here. They seem to work here, as most of them are doing yard work, cleaning things up, painting, building, etc. The three of you walk through this massive wooden arch gate that doesn't even look like it. You can tell that the branches themselves are still alive. The trees have grown together into this massive archway, and the branches then reached out from the trees and down into this intricate lattice weave that forms the gate. And as you approach, the gateway is opened with this like almost ripped tapestry look, where it looks like the branches just ripped away at the bottom and were pushed inward in the direction you're heading. And you walk past the gateway and can see all manner of scholars walking around, having discussions with each other, carrying books. There are places where people have set up by like fountains on the side of these pathways, all underneath these massive, massive, thick boughed trees. What you guys doing?
Well, two casters that were eager to come to this magic academy. What are we doing?
Oh, I want to know where their library is, and I also want to talk to them about their theories on magic.
Both you guys roll me an investigation check. It's only in
With
a
your
library.
ring of puzzler's wit, you would.
You burned that
Uh,
one. Good job.
You know what?
Yay.
I will as well.
You also had a 1.
Also burned a
But
one.
it was the second one.
Second one.
Okay. As you walk in the atmosphere of learning, this kind of detached from the politics and the conflict of the world washes over the both of you, and it is instantly familiar. Nick, you spent centuries both studying and teaching within numerous academies throughout Faerun, and this is, while extremely different, also no different. You notice buildings with signs out that have scripture that's written in both Common and Sylvan, where it can say, like, the study of natural arts, bioengineering, things like that. Different fields of study within magical growth. And as you begin walking through the campus here looking for a library, Aerith is doing the same and taking in this very it's familiar in the sense that it's similar to Lintier, and you've been to the Magical Academy there, but everything here feels so much older and more like it's like going to a university in England as opposed to America, where there's a weight, an age, a kind of like depth here that it's not offsetting or off-putting, but it's unfamiliar. As you take in this campus, you head towards the middle, just following instincts in your footsteps, and then you can see it kind of tucked into the central tree, like in the base of this massive, massive trunk that reaches up into the sky. You can see the words library written in several languages. You can. As you guys head in past the front doors, you are greeted to a familiar kind of front reception area, and the quiet of this building is intense. As you enter in, the young Eladrin girl behind the counter looks up to you. She smiles through her kind of half circle glasses. Welcome to the Bloom Library. What are you seeking today? How can we direct you?
Well, you know what? Our current problem has to do with time, so we might as well work on that. Do you have any books on time theories, time magic, such of that?
We do have some research into it. Most of it is from ages long past. Previous Archfey have looked into manipulation of time. If you wish, I could bring you a few of the tomes to research in one of our study rooms, or I could bring you to the wing in which they would be located, and you can help yourself.
I would appreciate going to the wing.
Very good. Now, there is a small manner of exchange here within the the bloom. We do not require tokens as the rest of the city does, nor do we really have any desire for physical goods. We ask that you give what you take. So if you wish to peruse and avail yourself of the knowledge here within the bloom, we ask that you provide some knowledge in return. Is that fair?
That's fair to me. How much would I have to share?
Roll me a charisma check or persuasion if you have proficiency.
Doubt I do, but I do not. So you said just charisma then?
Just charisma, yep. She smiles at you. It would be hard for you to judge how much to give without knowing what you are getting.
Fair enough.
I will lead you to the wing. You can study, and then when you are satisfied, determine what of your knowledge can help enrich us in the same way.
Very well. I accept this proposal. Good luck, Aerith. I got stuff to study.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Skip away.
Aerith, as she leads Nick back, I kind of thought you were all going together. Were you here looking for the same thing, Aerith, or were... Okay. Time. Okay. As the young woman leads Nick into the back, Oni, were you going to go with Nick or stick with Aerith?
I kind of was also in the same boat as you and thought we were all going together because Oni really doesn't have any interest in the library right now. But since Nick's already ran off, he'll probably just linger with Aerith.
Okay. As Nick is led into the back, another attendant, a young man, comes out. Also a Ladrin, also summer elf. And positions himself where she was standing behind the desk. And then as Aerith walks up and goes, "Welcome to the Bloom Magical Academy Library. How can I assist you today?" Interesting. We do have some studies on the alteration of magical compounds and the shaping of spell work in the moment. As far as gravitational magic, let me roll a die for him. There may be some older tomes, but they would not be written in common. I could bring them to you and you could see if they are familiar to you.
More.
Virgins. There are, or have been, studies in the past revolving around chimera and the creation of animals that are an amalgamation of multiple. Let's see. I'm just trying to like conceptualize what would be here. Yeah.
Fusion, ha.
Unfortunately, that is not a subject that has been expanded upon, but it is interesting. Perhaps I could make it the focus of my next study. Either way, I would be happy to provide you with a study room and what tomes I could find regarding the ancient research into gravitational magic and effects. Or I could lead you into the wing where that would be located, and you could dig through them yourself. Very well. What was the... This is above tape. What was the second one again? Right. Yes. Now, that would be in a different area, but that study has been researched in a little bit more depth than the gravitational one, as it is a naturally occurring phenomenon within some magically gifted casters to be able to alter the elemental nature of a spell. I could bring you those tomes as well, and we could... no, I wouldn't want to mix the books up. Which one would you prefer to study now? And then I can lead you to where the other one is. Very good. All right. So he will then lead you back into a larger, like... It's a library wing, and it's instantly recognizable to you as a library wing because there are books everywhere, but everything is very organically grown. The shelves themselves look like stumps of trees, but there are no like cut rings that you can see. It's almost like the wood itself grows up and is shaped into these shelves, almost like somebody molded them out of the wood itself. The books are ancient. And the same for Nick, as he leads you into, or as yours leads you into a similar kind of room lined with these thick, massive tomes and built into the walls in these organic bookshelves. And as she leads you through the door, the room's only about maybe 12 feet wide, 8 feet deep, and there's a research table with a arcane light flickering in the middle. This is where you should be able to find what you are looking for. If you require any further assistance, please come and find me, and I would be happy to help. Once you have the knowledge you seek, see me, and we can balance the scales.
Very well. Thank you for your time.
And she gives you a bow, heads out into the rest of the library. The gentleman with Oni and Aerith gives him the same spiel, and the two of you get to research. So, as you are both in your element, I'm pretty sure you both get advantage on this, right? On researching things? I know Aerith does with the
I
scholar.
don't think
Sage.
Cloister Scholar makes it easier to get into
Gotcha.
libraries.
Got it. Okay. So, Nick, go ahead, roll me a investigation. Aerith, one with advantage, as you guys stand before a room of tomes.
Nice. Good job.
Whew.
Also
How-
ideal.
Powerful.
No. I'm using my lucky die. We're doing that again.
You're like, hold on. Roll another one. Oh.
I-
19. Okay. All right. So, Nick, you are looking into time travel.
Specifically to break whatever is going on in the Fae.
Okay. So with a 19, as you begin your investigation, you guys are pretty much here for the rest of the afternoon into what would be like the early evening. Essentially, what gets you guys out of these rooms is your stomach starts growling, and it's time to go and meet with Bastille and have dinner. So between then and now, you dig into tome after tome. What languages does Nick know?
Technically, I can know them all if you give me like 10 minutes to switch my third eye.
Okay, you will have to do that as you start recognizing that not only are they written in Elvish, Sylvan, and Common, you start taking books off the wall that they're written in Common. You recognize it as Common, but it's like Old English. And then you
Gotcha.
take other ones off the wall that are more like, they're like Latin, but you can still see the roots of Common within there, but they're old and ancient. And as you start to dig through these tomes that talk about time travel, mostly they talk about time manipulation and the nature of the Feywild and its relation to time. That the Feywild is life. It is this place where things perpetuate. They don't really just decay and die like in the rest of the world. It's kind of or the rest of the planes. It's a place of creation and consistence. But that constance makes it kind of separated from the way that everything else flows from life to death, from life to death. Here, there isn't even the normal flow of birth and death, of sunrise and sunset. It's perpetually this like twilight magic hour light here everywhere you go. The sun never rises or falls, and it's never really even visible. The moon moves across the sky occasionally and you can see it, and it's probably the closest way that the Fae here have to track time is by the moons. But measuring time is it's mentioned in all of the studies that you do that measuring time is tricky at best and a fool's errand most of the time. That knowing exactly how much time has passed between two events in the Feywild is near impossible because of perception, sleep, things like that. So,
I was going to come to a conclusion. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. So is the reason he's able to like split time here is because time's technically not really moving here, so it's easier for him to split time because technically time's not. The
it's
plane
one of the
itself's not
theories.
moving, but the people are.
Right. That is one of the theories. There's also research that's been done into changing the past, and that changing the past, traveling into it and changing it itself can then create energy, like this self-contained battery. And with the Feywild, in that nature, as you're kind of having that insight of it being almost like stuck in the flow of time, it's almost like an ice cube in the flow of time that can then be plucked out and dropped. And as you start like going over these theories, the idea of maybe whatever happened caused the ice cube that is the Feywild in the flow of time to shatter. And that's what you were seeing, these different like instances of it. But you could see Rose in each of them. Unfortunately, even given hours of research, you don't find anything that details an effect like that. There's
So it's just theories and speculation, no
It's-
hard proof,
yeah.
really.
Well, and that's really what you get from all of the research you do, is that these powers only exist within the most potent of Archfey, those who not only command the land around them, but draw the faith from the people and can then use that to control the world itself. That it's not something that any mage can do. You have to be among like the top echelon of the Fae here.
Gotcha.
There are mentions of the Fae being disconnected from the material plane, in that travel can't go one way or the other temporarily, similar to what's happening with the Fae right now in the future. But that can happen for any number of reasons. It's even posited in one of the tomes that you read that the Archfey can just close the doors to the Feywild, and unless you have sufficiently powerful godlike magic, those doors are just shut.
Gotcha. And you said all the fragments we saw were centered on Rose, correct?
Everyone that you looked into was around Rose.
Rose, what did you do?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Rose
Well,
broke
Nick-
the ice cube.
While Nick conceptualizes 4D, 4 dimensions, Aerith, you head over towards the study of arcane manipulation and spellcrafting. And you start kind of digging through. What is it specifically you're looking for in relation to changing an element like that? Hmm. Okay. So with a 15 on your investigation, you start looking through these different spell books. And I'm going to put that in a heavy air quotes because as you start looking through them, they're not they strike you more like recipe books. You have the eyes of the rune keeper, right? Yeah. So as you're reading through it, you're packed with Ogma kind of altering the words you're seeing so you can understand the meaning behind them. The magic here, especially what's studied here within the bloom, is nature magic. It's primarily druidic in its like execution and study. There isn't a lot of arcane theory crafting as to how you'd be able to create a spell, because what you find in here that it talks about is people who are naturally gifted and have that kind of meta magic inherently in them, then learning natural magics and using that. So essentially what you find above table, I'll refer to it as this, is what happens when a druid and a sorcerer multi-class. But unfortunately, everything that you find, it seems to be related to like the spells themselves are nature just doing what it does. And some people, as a part of that nature, can command the nature to do things a little bit differently. But there's no like mathematical or arcane formula that talks about how you could recreate or replicate that.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet. But divine.
Time to multi-class.
There is a lot of insight
Yeah.
into like the natural evolution of spellcasters. There is some research in like how spellcasting abilities are passed on, that people who tend to have a stronger connection to arcane and arcane abilities have a higher tendency to give birth to progeny that also are arcanely, skilled. So there's some theory that you come across a few parts about like a eugenics type situation where it's like, what if we were to breed, arcanely and naturally arcane like people together? Could that potentially create somebody with these capabilities intentionally? But that's the closest that you find, and it's all like all of this, I guess, like same with what Nick was reading. It's all written in various forms of Common, as well as Sylvan and Elvish, that go back through multiple different iterations of both like the letter structure, the language. It's hard to gauge how much time has passed because like the books seem new. They're not like decaying and falling apart, but just based off of the language, some of the cities that get mentioned as like the people from the material, you don't recognize at all. Like they just mean nothing. Words that seem to come out of nowhere, races or a type of people that get mentioned that just is like, huh? That didn't translate correctly, because from your perspective, there is no translation for it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like reading through Orianjay's fucking language. Versuth doth not have. So, while they're studying and kind of looking into the insights that the Fae in their long, long lives have been able to uncover, Mia and Ken, you are posted up out front of Flinders, probably across the street, sitting there, waiting, watching. Door opens, and the gentleman that Oni had picked or pointed out walks out. Are you both trying to stay hidden, or are you being obvious?
Yeah, Mia's probably just being obvious. She's just sitting there, like, swinging her legs, watching the door.
As
Yeah, I guess there's really no point in trying to hide. I mean, yeah, Ken's kind of a rarity here, so. And I don't have any spells. I don't have a disguise self on my list today, so I can't change even if I wanted to, so. Obvious it is.
Right? I mean, I could make you invisible if you want to stay hidden just in case something goes down, but
Nah.
it's up to you.
Nah, it's fine.
As the door opens, he steps out, kind of like looks to his right, looks to his left, and that's when he sees you guys staring at him. And for that moment, there's like that twitch of, oh, there they are. Oh shit, they see me. Oh no. And you see that little like tightening of the muscles as his eyes lock onto yours, Mia, and then Ken's, and then he
Can we
probably-
like gesture for him to
Yeah, she waves at him.
yeah, just
Okay.
come say hi, come hang out with us.
roll me a persuasion check.
Flash of genius.
Okay. As you lock eyes, you see him begin to turn on your heel or on his heel, and you wave at him, and he like stops and drops his head and looks over at you and shakes his head back and forth, like puts his hands, and he walks over,
Good choice.
heads over, walks right up, probably about 5 feet. Hi, can I help you guys?
Hey.
So,
Basically, our friend let us know that you were scanning us, as it were.
watching us the whole time we were in there.
Didn't want to say it like that, but there it is.
Just so interesting looking. I mean, I've never seen anyone with horns like that. And I mean, he looks at Mia and he kind of like gestures, and then he looks at Ken like, and can you blame me for just
Nope. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
I mean, yeah, but most people, they do look at us and they look, but they don't watch us the whole time. Or at least not without coming to say something.
So, unfortunately, that piqued our interest. And
Yeah.
where we're from, our interest usually leads to some form of conflict. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. Are you watching us to gauge threat levels? Are you under orders from someone? Like we're not gonna hurt you. Let's just get that out of the way. We're just curious about the situation. We're new here. We don't want to step on anyone's toes. I just want to clear the air.
Yeah, no. Well,
But we do need to know.
I was informed that he kind of like weighs his words in his mind. You see him like rocking his head back and forth. Some new faces were coming to town, and I was just curious. I've never seen people from the material plane before, and I've never seen anyone, especially as personable as yourselves. He smiles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Um.
Well, who told you?
My boss let me know.
Who's your
And,
boss?
you wouldn't know him. It's just a guy. Don't worry about it.
Well, what makes you say that? We know a lot of people.
Roll me another persuasion check. He kind of like sighs and he looks at you and locks his eyes with you, Mia. He was a guy who knew you were coming here and let me know through word of mouth. Just keep an eye out.
I mean, there's only one person who knew we were coming here.
He gives you like finger guns, like. So, I mean,
Are you one of the? And she leans just really, really close and just spies.
oh no. roll me a stealth check. With your charisma instead of... Do you have stealth proficiency?
I do not.
Okay, then just a charisma check, because it's actually going to be more charisma-based than... Okay. He, like, leans forward, and he puts one finger just up to his mouth and winks. You didn't see anything. I didn't fail at my job.
Ken will give him a wink and a thumbs up. That's all I need to hear.
Sorry.
Are you coming with us to dinner?
I won't be there, no.
Oh.
But keep an eye out for me. You'll see me around.
Like at dinner?
Mia, come on
Oh.
now.
he looks over at Ken and
Yeah, he has a job to do. Let him do his job. Maybe if we're lucky, and he gets off early. Maybe he can pop up at dinner. So let's just let him go do what he has to do, and maybe he'll show up.
I don't know what the other job is if it's just not watching us. Which seems like then he would be coming with us anyways.
I mean, we're not. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know what else he has to do. Maybe he has to do data entry. Maybe he has to go. Maybe he has other people he has to see about. We don't know. So let's just leave him to it, and maybe we'll catch him another time.
at this point, the more time we spend together, the more suspect it is when we are together. So it's best for me to just keep my distance.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll
So,
be there,
come on.
but not at the table with you. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Don't tell him.
Thank you for the directions, kind sir. We'll head over to the academy right now. Thank you
Of
so
course.
much.
Yeah,
And
you're
then
very
we'll
welcome.
Try to shake his hand.
Yeah. He goes out with the same hand, you like the wrong hand, and it's like a little bumbling, like, oh yeah, there we go. Okay. And then he turns on a heel and walks away, like, oh no. What you guys
All
doing
right.
now?
Let's go find the rest of the crew at the academy.
Okay. You head down towards the library, or towards the academy itself. Both you guys roll me investigation checks to find the library.
Investigation.
You walk through that same kind of trellised gateway that is just grown from the foliage around you and into this very quiet and peaceful, eruditious community. Ken, you're relatively familiar with how campuses are laid out, but there's just something almost instinctual about how Mia is like leading you through the city as you begin to be distracted by things like biological engineering as one of the buildings. The different
Well,
types of
after the situation with Garrick, biological engineering is the last thing I want to learn about. So
these things distract you in the moment, though. Before you know it,
yeah,
you find yourself out front of the same library as Mia has found her way there, surprisingly.
This is the one that Nick would be at.
no, really? Well, it looks like, yeah, definitely looks like a place they'd be at. Nice, fantastic work. And like, kind of like, give her like a hug and kiss on the forehead.
Hey.
All right, let's go find them, and by extension, who knows? Maybe I can find something of use here.
Okay. You head into the main atrium of the library. The woman attendant is back because I like doing her voice more. Greetings. How can I assist you today?
Good day to you. I believe 3 of my friends have already arrived to look up some information. We would like to do the same if possible.
Of course. Would you like me to lead you to where... well, they are in 2 separate places, but I could lead you to them? Or are you here to look for something on your own?
I'm curious
One of-
about the
Look at a
curious
book.
about the different specializations of engineering.
Yes.
But, sorry, Mia, did you want to check something out, or did you?
I
go
want to
find-
read a book.
Is there anything specific you want to read?
A fun one?
Gonna look over to the librarian.
She smiles. I can certainly find something that will entertain you while your companion does some research. We do have an extensive wing on both fauna and floral engineering using arcane and magical implements. If you follow me, I can lead you back to where it is. We do ask for a trade of knowledge, so for the knowledge gained, we ask that you offer something that you deem it to be equivalent to pay for the knowledge that we harbor here.
Oh, well, first thing that comes to mind is pretty easy. I guess, do you have a blank notepad or notebook by chance?
Such things can be provided, yes.
Okay, I'm willing to trade some information.
Very good.
Uh-oh.
I will allow you to locate what you are looking for, and then once you have deemed its worth, you can provide what you feel will be worth it in trade. This way. She starts leading you down the hallway, past a few rooms. You kind of like look through one of the windows, and in the seat you can see as Nicholas is just nose deep in a tome, sitting at a workbench in the middle of the room. Like
Hi,
small
Nick.
arcane.
Hi, Nick. We're
Right.
over here.
What's going on? Yeah.
Just like waving frantically through the glass.
So it's that time already.
We're gonna go read a book too.
Yeah, very well. I'm just going to keep reading mine then.
All right. She eventually leads you to a wing that is labeled as the Biological Engineering and Development Research Wing. It is larger than the other 2. This one seems to be a pretty main focus of what they research here, with multiple different branches of the wing broken into flora, fauna, and chimerical. What you looking for?
I'm sorry. What specifics were there?
So it's a larger wing. It's got a lot of information in it, and it's currently broken up into flora, fauna, and chimeric.
Ah, shit. Well, Oral, maybe I could possibly figure out ways to grow crops and stuff back at Starfall.
If
Wana
you
could raise animals for specific items and purposes. Chimeric just sounds unattractive. Let's just stick with floral right now.
Alright. Roll me an investigation.
Ooh, maybe I can get some more info on the Celestial Lotus as well. Well,
Unfortunately, as you start to dig through these books, the problem that you run into is one that your companions didn't, and that's that most of these are written in Old Common, like
that we can't read.
pre-history Common. You've never actually seen some of these iterations of this like interpretation of Common. On top of that, a lot of it's written in Sylvan and Elvish. What you do find are a couple of like simpler books that go over like the basics of enhancing like plant life through magic. The use of things like plant growth for like not harvesting but seeding an entire field quickly. There's a lot of discussion that you can make out about using the innate connection of the Fae to the world around them in order to promote growth in a specific way of trying to like shape things. And it's indicated, at least from what you can gather, that that's how their buildings are made. Their druids are utilizing the natural growth and accelerating it through their own magic to then shape these buildings, shape the bookshelves, shape it all while it's still alive and keeping it alive. And that's like the big focus, is being able to alter something without killing it or causing it harm that it can't thrive from. You know, like you don't want to cut something's arm off unless cutting its arm off gives it the ability to regrow its arm, you know?
yeah. Well, I don't think I'll be able to use this per se. Well, shit.
Mia, you are brought it's not like a novel, but it's a book of short stories that are all written in Common. It definitely isn't a kid's book. 100% definitely not a kid's book that she's just bringing you. No. Legitimate. It's probably closer. It's like what you got at the other library about the gods, but it's about life in the Fae. The most interesting thing that you get from it, Mia, just reading through. Give me an investigation check, Mia.
Okay.
As Ken's digging through his tomes and reading, you start reading these stories out loud, and they're mostly like parabolic. They seem to be like they're parables. They teach a lesson. They have accentuated characters. But the big thing
Means
that
very
you're
little to me.
yeah, the big thing that you notice is that there's never really any like pain or suffering. It's things get phrased and written in such a way that there is conflict and things to work against and strive for, and like rules that have to be met. And there's a lot of, trust in the Summer Queen, trust in, the Archfey who lead us. There's this very innate like background of almost like evangelicalism, like just building this baseline of faith. But yeah, with a 4,
Yep.
it's just sort of an interesting read, and it's at least all in common. So
Read like maybe half of it before she gets bored.
Okay. It's probably around then that, because you guys stuck around for an hour and waited for the totally not spy. Just hoping I get through that whole map without someone asking about the token. But I was like, if someone asks though, then we'll follow that thread.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt, but as soon as you put us on that map, I noticed that motherfucker looked completely different than everyone else, and I wanted to ask the whole time, but I didn't want to do it.
I was wondering that. Hell yeah. But yeah, I'd say it's probably around when you get through half of it that it's time to go. Your stomach starts grumbling. It's what forces you to put the book down. Ken's realizing that this might not be the right type of information for him to utilize, and you gather back up with your friends. Did Oni want to? I know you didn't really have anything earlier. Did you have anything you wanted to do while you and Aerith were in the library today?
No, Oni will just kind of be the little go-between if Aerith needs any kind of books or anything retrieved. He doesn't want to get up, break away from what he's doing. He'll.
Okay, all right. Let me see. Aerith already rolled with advantage, so the help action can only do so much. But yeah, okay. Using freedom and able to get up to those higher shelves without having to move around the ladders, it definitely speeds things up for Aerith, who seems like, again, this might not have been the type of magical academy that you guys were expecting.
Yeah.
A few moments later, there's a knock at the door, and the woman who had led Nick back initially opens the door, and your friends are looking for you. The rest have grouped up. Mia, this is above table. Mia and Ken knew where Nick was. So they were able to gather Nick and Todd, and then they got her to go get Aerith and Oni. You are all brought back together at the front of the academy, and it is now time to head to the Copper Pond for your dinner.
Time to pay first.
Yeah, we gotta
Oh,
pay
you do have
for
to
it.
For our
pay.
knowledge.
So as you group up together, thank you. As you group up together in the atrium of the library, the young woman who is like her voice is low, monotone. She has this almost whisper to it when it's talking. But she is young, beautiful. Her hair is this kind of interesting light green that's tied back into these multiple different braids that then fall down across her shoulders. But as you gather together, she sits down and goes, "Well, I hope that your day has been a fruitful one. Let's start with you, Nicholas." Or I guess she doesn't know your name.
How do you know my name?
She looks at you, Nick, and goes, "You. I hope that you were able to find at least something that was of value to you. What knowledge do you have to offer in?"
Oh, I sadly wasn't able to find what I was looking for. I will happily share some of my knowledge, and I'm going to. I would assume before I left, I could write a quick note on how to do the Nicholas's quick band-aid. So I might need to
Sure.
call it something else, so they don't be like, "Oh, Nicholas's quick band-aid. Who's Nicholas?"
Who's
mean-
Nicholas?
Why not? There's all sorts of spells that are named after him.
I'll shorten it to Nick's quick band-aid.
Okay. As
Call it
you
Nick's quick fix.
Yeah, you know what?
Right?
I like that.
as you were handed a sheaf of paper and a quill in order to write out your arcane spell work previously, you had the entirety of the cantrip kind of described and written out in the most basic way that you could think of to describe it, and it takes up about 2 or 3 sheets of paper. And as you take it out and hand it to her, she takes it and kind of looks over and goes, "Interesting. Interesting. It uses the arcane. Wonderful. This will be a very valuable addition to our studies, and one that we would be happy to share with our friends at Fakluken. Thank you. I am sorry that we did not have the knowledge you sought, but we appreciate the donation made." for you. And she looks over at Aerith. I hope you were able to find what you sought.
Eh.
Okay. All right, as you, because that one's, is it a cantrip too? Okay. As you do the same, kind of outlining it, and yours has more of like a descriptive, pictographic look to it, closer to like the scrolls. You remember the water scroll in Avatar? It's like that with like little arcane sigils at different steps because the butterfly blade is so physical, and she kind of like scans over it and goes, I understand. I believe I am understanding. This is very interesting. Well, potentially not as life-changing as your friend's quick fix. Another interesting gift that we can give to our sister school. Thank you. This will be added to our grimoire and treasured. And finally, for you, the two of you, what knowledge can you offer?
So
I know what
out
to
of
do for
character,
mine.
I was initially going to be like, let me go like write down the basic art of artificery, but I'm like, I don't want another Garrick to pop up in the Feywild, so I'm gonna say no on that. So I'm gonna write like the do's and don'ts of metallic dragons for dummies. Like, hey, this is a gold dragon. Their usual, personalities are this and this and this. They like this and this and this. Do not do this, this and this. And then that's for like the main, like all of the metallics.
Okay, so this is for the metallics. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So as you write out your 3 or 4 pages of information that you have into the more consistent natures of these dragons, and you know that within the different colors there is variety, but they do tend to follow in this familial pattern. And as you hand it over to her, she reads through it, and you see her eyes scanning the page very quickly, and she nods. This is very valuable. We do not have much information at all on the metallics, only some on the chromatics, as they were the enemy of Snicker Snack. But interesting. This will be. Yeah, I didn't just make that name up. That's
Snicker snack is real.
capital
Oh, yeah.
S.
Capital S.
She kind of flips through. Very interesting and appropriate given your own history. Thank you.
I need some paper.
Of course, my dear. She'll hand you a small sheaf of papers, same as everybody else has gotten.
Mia sits down and she draws the world's worst map of the Sword Coast that she learned from Chad.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Oh dear.
That's pretty much what happens. She picks it up and looks at the map and nods, trying to be polite. I do believe that this is an equivalent trade for the knowledge that you were given. She sets it down. I would recommend, if you have time, that you seek the Bardic School to the north. Or I guess she doesn't say to the north, at the far edge of the city. Your arcane not prolification.
Proclivities.
Proclivities, thank you. Wow. Okay. Your arcane proclivities may be better suited at the Bardic School. We focus mostly on natural magics here and the enhancement of the druidic craft. But your knowledge added to ours can only help grow our school and the trade between us and Faklukin. So, thank
Go
you.
talk to the bards.
It's up to you guys, but that's what she would recommend. Just depends on how much time you have.
I don't know if the bards will have what we need.
Hmm?
So I don't even think the bards will have what we need.
They at least have arcane stuff instead of druidic magic. So maybe?
All right.
Maybe.
The 5 of you head out.
I
Alright.
think it's dinner time.
It is. Now, it's also 8:30. Do we want to pick up with the Copper Pond and then go into the gala next week? Maybe have you guys check out the academy? Call it here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
we
it's up
could
to
do
you
that.
guys.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to be like the Copper Pond's going to be a conversation. So you might have questions for one of the faces there. That was fun. That was a fun little screw around town. That was good.
Grand.
There is also like a library. So like the Magical Academy, the Bloom is just the academy. There's also the Zinnian Archive, which was the main library you guys passed when you came in, and then Faklukin is up here.
We also have the key now that has an ever expanding wealth of knowledge, right? That we can also take
Right,
advantage of.
Yep. Yeah, that one came up on my random list that I was making, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna throw that one in there.
Why not?
That'll be fun. Yeah.
In my own house.
How crazy is that? You guys have 2 Morden kind of mansion keys, and one of them's an actual like item from the game. Well, from Griffin's Saddlebag, but oh man, I'm sorry the academy didn't have what you guys.
No, it's fine.
I felt so bad.
Womp womp.
I was hoping I could get you guys at least something that was
natural.
worth the. Yeah, I'd say the craziest thing that you both recognized is that everything was, like I said, is far older than you've ever seen. Nick, the books were written in dialects older than you, from before the spell plague. These are 2 to
Old.
5,000 years old at this point.
Damn.
Yeah. So that was really the big thing that you both would have gotten from there, is that it's been around for a very, 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 very long time.
Gotcha.
That was a good analogy. That was a good way to put it. Oh yeah. So here, this is like what it looked like. This is actual Old English. It's a picture of, I think this is from Beowulf. But that's what it looked like. So you can kind of see that it's like that's what it was like looking at it. And like for you, for Aerith, when you looked at it, the words would kind of shift into common. For Nick, he looked at it and he was smart. He kind of like broke it down as he had lived closer to that time and had and you also had your there was a spell that you used to decipher things, right, Nick?
My third eye. It pretty much it works
Yeah.
as like comprehend languages, but yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. So when Ken started to look at this writing without any of those tools, it was like, oh no, you were having to like break down, like, I think this says Beowulf made, no, hold on, Beowulf. Shit.
Beowulf shit. If you have it
Don't
on,
have it on my list.
Also, Ken, you should have disguise self, but artificer also gets alter self, which is better. Yeah. So like disguise self puts an illusion around you, but you can still like reach through that illusion and tell that what you're touching isn't real. Alter self physically alters you into a different shape, so that's no longer a concern. Yeah. Yep, you did the aquatic adaptation. I was always using the change appearance in our Strahd game. That was how I summoned Hugh Madman. Craze, alter personality.
And,
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty
Hated
awful.
Hugh so much.
okay.
Hugh Madman.
All right. Oh, that's all right. Food for thought. Food for
Yeah,
thought.
it's a great spell. I love that spell so much. All right, guys.
If I don't want to bring too much attention to myself, I can just like shift back to like level 1 Ken.
Right. Give yourself
Yeah.
back to baby Ken.
Yeah. It is concentration, so you do still
Yeah.
need to, you know, like worry about getting it dispelled and stuff. But it does, like I said, it physically changes you so that you can't be like, it's not as easy to see through it.
Right.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna get to making some dinner. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for again being so flexible, coming out on Sunday so we can get a little further. It's definitely taken a little
around for
longer
a
than
little
I
bit.
predicted through the Feywild, but I'm having fun. I love the Fey. This has been a lot more amusing than I expected it to be.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
But we're getting there. We're nearing the climax of this adventure, and then on to the next arc. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, guys.
Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Yep.
Dig
Take it
these.
easy.